Hi, how's it going?
Okay, and then Destiny, you can hear us as well.
Yeah. I can't. I don't know how I've never heard this phone call before. This was published 3 years ago.
Another episode of WIC TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Gang, on Sunday, we had a bombshell drop. Joe Biden, President Biden, pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. And not just for the crimes he's been convicted of, but also for a whole 11-year period starting on January 1st of 2014 to, I think, yesterday or the day before 2024. Is this evidence of corruption? Should Biden have done this? Is this something that just feeds into right-wing narratives? Does that even matter anymore? Or is this simply a dad refusing to put his son up as a human sacrifice for the jackals on the right that are going to go after him? Well, we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. We're going to start with counterpoints. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that the easiest concession to make is going to be that as a dad, I get it. I'm not going to let my only born son go to jail for 20 years for some political symbolic thing. I think however, if we're talking about like the health of the country, I think that, obviously we can point to Trump. We can point to Republicans in general. We can point to insider trading. We can point to nepotism and cronyism inside DC. My problem is that I hate all of these things. I don't sweep for any of these things. So as a result, I'm not going to turn around and be like, oh, well, Trump did something 10 times worse. And it's like, great. Well, doing methamphetamine is bad. Smoking a cigarette is also bad. You can call both of these things bad, and we should start holding our people to a higher standard instead of allowing them to continue to slip the standards.
Okay. Destiny, what you got?
We'll get into the back and forth on this, but everything that I've seen has shown pretty universally that alcohol is bad for you. A glass of wine a day, a drink a week, whatever, any amount of alcohol is just not good for your body. If somebody was on their deathbed and their body was riddled with lung cancer and they've got hours to go and they're like, you know what? I want a shot of bourbon, the best you got. And somebody walked in, they're like, that's bad for your health, sir, right? That's the equivalent of having any criticism whatsoever of anything relating to this pardon. If we get into the details of the prosecution, very clearly it is politically motivated. It doesn't hold a candle to the insane pardons that Trump has done so far that are all indefensible, or at least all the ones that are involved with him are totally and completely indefensible. But the most important thing is to remember always, okay, that this conversation and the one that we're about to have is a complete and utter waste of fucking time. The only reason why this conversation is going to happen is because Democrats like to do this thing where we go and we like whip ourselves because of whatever. Republicans don't give a fuck about any of this. They laugh at these conversations. They have no morals. They have no values. They have no character. They have no support of U.S. institutions, the Constitution, anything like that. And they openly laugh at all of it. And we'll get into all of that sure in this conversation as well. So
I'm sure we will. Thanks for being here, and it should be fun. SFO, go ahead. What you got for us?
Basically, I'd like to live in your world. Counterpoints. That's the ideal, but we don't live there. It's as simple as that. Like, if you have a standard, and one side is not adhering to the standard, you're simply just tying one hand behind your back as you fight them. It's as simple as that.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
It's okay. It's your
I have
turn.
to restart my stream because I forgot Destiny. Fuck.
Oh,
Hold
no.
on.
Yeah, do that real quick.
Okay.
We'll skip you then, and we'll go to
Yeah.
Quibbles while you get that.
Yeah, no worries.
Arrow.
I don't have a stream, so it'll be fine. So I think that the basic two ways that I think about this is essentially there's one part of this which is about the direct impact on justice. I think the direct impact on justice in the cases of these Hunter Biden situations, I think is bad. And then the second question is whether or not it's good for the Democratic Party and for democratic norms more generally. In terms of the second part, which I think is probably where we're going to keep most of this conversation, hopefully, I think it's almost certainly bad. I think that we could recognize certainly that obviously a lot of the things that Republicans have been doing are a lot worse, but we can still also recognize that this is bad and that the way that you manage to sort of like get back to those norms is not by throwing them out. Destiny mentioned this idea of like the bourbon at the last moment before you die. It is true that Biden is on his last legs and is about to die, both like electorally and also in his case, literally. But I don't think that it's the same, because I don't think that this is something that he's doing just as a father or just as a person who is individually doing this. He is a representative of both democratic norms. He is the sitting president of the United States, and I think that it's very different to do something that might be vaguely, I guess, bad on the way out of life than to do something that's vaguely bad, and actually, in this case, significantly bad, on the way out of the presidency, which is a public office.
Okay, thanks for being here. We'll give you a little more time, Hutch, and we'll go to Tuna Chip, and we'll let Hutch be the anchor here. Tuna Chip, thoughts?
Yeah, basically, I'm not happy about the decision from Biden. It feels a little scorched earth. It feels a little bit like a concession to a new status quo, where instead of fighting against the degradation of certain principles, we're just sort of like matching the other party where there are. It doesn't. I don't like the whataboutism. I don't like the shift. All the same, I understand why a person would take the defense, because it's a bit like getting punched in the face and not fighting back for XYZ reason. But it does feel like it's not the first time, maybe like the second or third time that Biden's done something that has sort of like been a fuck you to the DNC, has been a fuck you to his populace and his base. He's broken promises. It doesn't look good for his legacy. I just think that it's not a good choice.
Okay. Hutch, you ready?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, let's get your thoughts, and then we'll open this up and get to talking of, is this a waste of time? Go ahead.
I'll keep it concise, because I'm sure we're going to get into the particulars when we get into the actual debate. But all things being equal, I would listen to an argument against this action that he took. But we just don't live in that world. I can't possibly be made to give a fuck about this. I mean, in the face of everything that Trump did his first term and everything he's certain to do in his second term, it's difficult for me to take seriously the idea that we should be lectured about norms from MAGA Republicans right now. And so, yeah, I'd be happy to get into the specifics in the actual debate.
And with that, let's open it up. I think Destiny said something that I'm curious if everyone else feels the same way. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're right here, but you said something to the effect of this argument is not something we should be having, because Republicans would never hold their side to this standard. So why are we trying to fight with one hand tied behind our back, basically? Is that kind of like the gist of the argument here?
My gist is I want to hear a defense for the pardon of Roger Stone. And if they can't provide a cogent defense for that, they should never talk about anything having to do with law and order, because it's a farce.
Okay, but we do recognize the fact that not every Republican is a MAGA Republican, right?
Did they vote for Trump? Then they're a MAGA
Okay.
Republican. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you say or do. It matters who you vote for.
Wait, so is there no reason to push back against bad things that are done on our side if we just accept that the things that they're doing are worse?
No. I want to hear a defense of Roger Stone, and then we can talk about pardons in general.
Yeah, I'm not
or we can
defending
talk
Roger
about-
Stone.
Okay.
That makes
That's not
sense. That makes sense if they're a Republican and they defend the Roger Stone. We're not gonna. If you're a Democrat or if you're a normal person, if you're not a Trump voter, and you're criticizing this, you would agree that stands to reason. You don't need to like defend the Roger Stone allegation for that, right?
If you're a Democrat and you want to talk about it, you can. I don't know why you would publicly, though, because then we would have to move on to the next point of why is the pardon even corrupt or bad? What is the bad thing about pardoning somebody? Like, should a president not have the ability to pardon? Is that a power that we're against, or are we only against it when Democrats do it?
I oppose both the case that you just said of Roger Stone, and I also oppose this case, because I think both of these are individually corrupt. That's different than saying that
Sure. What is if you want to? Okay, sure. So there's no MAGA person here that will defend any of Trump's pardons, which is good because you shouldn't, because that is actual corruption. We all agree that the Hunter Biden pardon, even if we were to argue it's corrupt, which is an insane argument, we'll get to that. Is it anywhere remotely close to just the pardon alone of Roger Stone?
I would literally have to look that shit up, but I'm assuming that there's plenty of, like, so for instance, I've been seeing this all day on Twitter, right? here are 114 of Trump's former pardons. And they literally show that they did a 4473 violation for some random hip hop artist. They show that, who is it? Jared Kushner's dad got pardoned for like tax evasion in 2006.
Whatever you're reading, that sounds like a real good tweet. Whoever made that tweet, that was a real good tweet. Yes.
Real quick. I just want to share. I'm working on getting a headphone right now. So if you talk over me, there's probably going to be an echo. So I just want to get that out there. So I'm working on the headset.
Okay.
Thing. But that's why you're not going to find me going like, oh yeah, like the Republicans, they would never do this. Like obviously they're sweeping for this shit, right? And on top of that, but here's my problem. My problem is that the general election, a lot of Democrats are flagellating themselves like, oh, this is a total repudiation of the democratic norms and the Republican system and the rule of law. And it's like, bitch, you lost by 1.5%. It's almost nothing. It's almost negligible. So that means that everything counts. And if everything counts, then when you're like handing the opposition a W, even if it's a 0.01% W, you're giving away ground that you don't need to give away.
Who's changing their mind about anything based on this? Like, what is the health of the country?
In the last 30 days of the election, we were all hoping that a comedian talking shit about Puerto Ricans was going to be the thing that tipped the balance of the election. So everything counts.
Well, isn't that crazy? I love that you brought that up as an example. Isn't that crazy that the Democrats really wanted people to care about the racist jokes, but nobody gave a fuck? But when the Republicans really want us to care about the pardon of Hunter Biden's son, who is clearly the victim of a highly politicized prosecution, now all of a sudden we've got to change our behavior? Why are we granted that? Why don't the Republicans have to stop and say, wait, maybe we shouldn't have these jokes and maybe we shouldn't have these people? Why do they set the tone on both sides?
Wait, so hold on.
Because whenever a tone change happens from them, people on the opposite side move to whatever they're doing. How is what you're proposing any different?
I don't know that. Wait, can you say that again? What was
moving to their tone change?
No, they're the ones who get to set the tone both times. We don't get to set the tone ever. We say, hey, racist jokes at that thing are probably not good, and they're like, it's just jokes, bro. Who cares? And then they get record turnout in Hispanic votes.
So that changes it on their side, but not ours. If we concede to it, then it changes on both.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, yeah, like counterpoints when you try talking and someone else is talking, it's just chaos. So let's try to go like one at a time. No, it's all good. But no, can you repeat that, Tuna, just so I can hear it?
Yeah, the Republicans don't feel beholden to our values. That's obvious.
Then why do we let them attack us with
beholden to our values? We just bend over to whatever they do, whatever the state of affair and how they decide to conduct themselves. Then we are controlled by how they set the sort of status quo of what a politician can or can't do.
No, they're controlling the situation right now by shackling us with values that they're not beholden to. It doesn't make any sense. There is no world where this is advantageous. It doesn't make any sense.
Can you walk me through like what your idea of how we get back to norms is, Stephen?
Civil war. I don't know, honestly. The way that we get back to that's a whole. I can give you a real answer. I'll tell you this: whatever the answer is, it's not Democrats continue to give up more and more and more and more and more, and Republicans do nothing. I'll give you this. I'll change my entire argument right now if you could give me one time in the past decade when the Republican Party has come back to norms. I'll wait. One time.
Sure. In the immediate aftermath of Jan 6, there were a bunch of people. Yeah, in the immediate aftermath of Jan 6, there were a bunch of people who did say a bunch of things in the immediate aftermath. To be clear, a lot of them went back on that. But in the immediate
try
aftermath,
again. That's right. Try again.
No,
you just defeated your argument. Try again.
Hold on. You asked for one example. We gave you one example.
You asked for an example. I'm trying to lay out why
your example is one day when people who said things like, "I'll never
lay it out."
Okay.
Right. What I'm asking of you is similarly, I'm not saying like throw out Joe Biden and like never vote for the Democratic Party moving forward. I'm saying in the immediate aftermath of something that is an obvious overstep by our side, we should likewise do something as similar as McConnell did, as Ben Shapiro did, as a bunch of people did who were relevant in conservative world. In the immediate aftermath after Jan 6.
McConnell put out a statement. So did McCarthy the day after, or the couple days after, and then 2 weeks later, the Republicans acquitted him in the Senate.
Thank you. Yes, so that's correct. So that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. They didn't hold him accountable. They acquitted him in the Senate. You're lying. You're lying.
No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. And on
one's
top of
saying
that,
they didn't
the Cheney family came out against Trump. The Bushes failed to endorse him. All
Yes,
major
yeah.
leaders
People
of
who
the
are no
Republican
longer
Party failed to
political.
endorse
The
Trump in
Bushes are
previous section.
Bushes are the
You're
leader of the
acting
Republican
like
Party.
if you
What?
put an R next to somebody's fucking name, that all of a sudden they're like, there is no evil with which we can do to them. It's bullshit.
Your
It's
post hoc.
You're just pissed off that you lost. That's all that fucking happened.
The never Trump Republicans,
your
though,
post-hoc
have
decided.
proven themselves to be over and over again an irrelevant block. It didn't matter in the end. Like he got the
Your
same
post-hoc
vote share.
decided.
1.5%. Everything counts, you stupid fucks.
He got the same vote
You
share
lost
of
by
Republicans
this
that he
much.
did in
Why wouldn't it
2020.
matter?
He got the same vote share. It was 6% of Republicans didn't vote for him this time around.
Yes,
The same in
an
2020.
incredibly different
Next one of
dynamics.
the Puerto Ricans from you, so maybe we should be analyzing that as well. But at the same time, to say never Trump Republicans are irrelevant, but we only lost by 1.4% is a fucking insane thing to say.
What is your proof that they were relevant, though? They were not decisive in this outcome.
So hold on.
Like, everyone was decisive. What do you mean they weren't decisive? Everyone was
Well, okay,
decisive.
one at a time. Counterpoints and
You're
But it
asking
weren't
for
enough to be
evidence
decisive, though.
that
That's the
never
point.
Trump Republicans as a single demographic bloc were necessary, weren't relevant in this calculation. Do you have anything for like Hispanics or blacks as like single demographic groups that they were necessary for like for the Democrats to get as far as they got?
No, my point was that Donald Trump enjoyed the same
Don't ask
level
me
of
for
support
evidence
from
that
the-
you
Hold on,
don't
wait.
have.
Hold on, let me finish. I'm saying that Donald Trump enjoyed the same level of support as a percentage vote share of his party that he did in 2020. It didn't move the
Also,
needle at all.
just
We
to-
wanted it
just-
to.
Hold on,
just to
that's
justify
not
that real quick on
One
Hunter's
at a
point.
time.
That's not evidence.
On
What
that-
you just said is that the needle didn't move, but this individual situations could have moved the needle. It could have been significantly worse in terms of the vote share of Republicans otherwise. There are lots of reasons to expect that it would otherwise have gone up in terms of his vote share, right?
But you guys are making this point that the Democrats should hold themselves to the standard because of what now? Like I still don't understand.
Hold on,
the
yeah, the
logic.
macro zoom out again because we get lost in this so much because it's such a farcical argument. Okay, is you've got a guy who has prepared a full English breakfast and we're criticizing the fact that he used a little bit too much butter on his toast and that dish lost. Okay, in Hell's Kitchen to a guy who diarrhea shit all over his fucking plate and served that to Gordon Ramsay and won the competition. And you're like, no, every little part of the constituency counts against a guy who tried to coup the government, who's corrupt in like 52 million different fucking ways, who pardoned every single fucking criminal around him, who was indicted for criminal acts involving him, right? Who's got 34 whatever convicted felonies, who's got 2 federal cases that are now being dismissed because of a corrupt Supreme Court that issued an opinion that there's so much. The fact that hold on, okay, I'm almost done. Okay,
Let him finish.
Let me fucking finish. I just need to macro zoom out to show people how fucking retarded these conversations are. We be like, we just got to do these one things to win, and the other guys are literally just on the most insane shit ever. It's such a stupid fucking standard that pardoning Hunter Biden is somehow relevant to winning that 1% of the electorate against a guy who's a traitor to who had to have the Constitution changed in order to run for president again. That's insane.
Okay, Connor and I are trying to lay out a way of getting back 1.5% of the country. That's all we need to do. There's lots of other things we'd like to do. That's all we need to do. Get 1.5% of the country to come back to our way. We're saying here are a bunch of steps that we can do to become vaguely, slightly more popular with slivers of the country. And your response is, oh, but we shouldn't have to do that. But like, grow up. We do have to.
No,
and
we
so,
don't. You're the one that
therefore-
needs to grow up.
Yes,
That's not
you
how
do.
that works. That's not how that works. You are
No,
fighting a losing
exactly
battle.
how it works.
Strategy to win the next
What's
election.
the strategy? We don't have a Supreme Court anymore because Donald Trump has gotten 3 appointees because the Republicans stole one from Obama. And as a result of that, Trump
We're
has
just describing the
unlimited
situation
criminal
that we're in.
immunity
We all
for his
agree
actions.
with the
As a result of
situation that we're in.
the fact that we play by norms and the fact that
Tuna, I
Obama
need to
lost
get
the
in.
Supreme Court
Or
pick
quibbles.
literally means that Donald Trump
sorry.
now has unlimited immunity to commit crimes, which means he can't even be held accountable for the things that he does. So this idea, but we just need to keep playing by warm.
Number one, that's a Pisco take, so don't go all over the fucking map and let's address what you're saying one at a fucking time, okay? So hold on. Let's talk about the plate of shit analogy with fucking Gordon Ramsay, okay? I'm a Republican, okay? I like representative democracy. I like people with above average intelligence making fucking choices about this country. You're a fucking Democrat. You love the fucking demos. You like the popular fucking vote. You like to appeal to the fucking masses. This is your fault, okay? You like this fucking system. You like it where Gordon Ramsay looks at a plate of diarrhea shit and he takes a fucking scoop and he goes, that kind of tastes good. And then he's like, hold on, but this buttery fucking piece of toast is a little bit off. Therefore, I'm going to give it to the plate of shit people. I think these people are fucking retarded. Okay, I think these people are fucking retarded, but we're playing your retarded game. Okay,
what are you talking about? Wait, what?
Winston Churchill has this great fucking quote that I'm going to say every single goddamn time.
Democracy is the worst system except for everything else. Yeah, this has nothing to do with any of this conversation. I don't know how that's relevant to any part of this.
Connor, are you gonna be? Wait, hold on, Connor. Let me ask you a question.
Dumbass. You're acting like you don't have to play it, and yet you're completely beholden to it.
No one is talking about what the game. What is the game where you lose a Supreme Court pick? That's not even a democratic issue. That's an issue of the Republic. It's a checks and balances of the legislature, which is the Republic. What are you talking about?
Was that a norm or a law?
What?
So,
well, technically, at the end of the day, if you want to be corrupt as fuck, there really are no laws. What do you mean? With the advice and consent of the Senate, what happens if the Senate doesn't advise or consent? I don't know. It's in the Constitution. You tell me.
Yeah, so my argument, my argument would be that is likely a norm, and what I've been getting from Democrats all day on fucking Twitter is that we don't have to abide by norms anymore. We should throw it all fucking away. We should go ahead, you know what, fuck the Republic. It didn't work. The Republicans are dog shit. You know what? As a result, we should throw it all away.
No, you know what? Hold on. You want to know what throwing? You know what? A pardon is not throwing a norm away. You know what throwing a norm away would be? It would be making it so you could never even investigate somebody for a crime linked to a pardon, which is what Donald Trump did. So no, it's not. How, are we saying that pardons now? When Donald Trump explicitly breaks the law or has people tell him to break the law, that's okay. But when Democrats do things that are squarely within the law,
okay.
when Democrats do things that are squarely within the law, the powers granted to the president, that's corruption? What the fuck?
Hold on. So here we can dig into that, but I have like a 2-minute rant on that, and I don't want to derail from what we're doing right now. So if y'all want to fight, and I'm just going to take a note.
Well, I just wanted to ask a question to you guys. When it comes around, or more specifically to you, Connor, are the other two panelists, are you guys Republicans or are you coming at this from the left?
No, I'm a progressive.
Left.
And then
I'm a Democrat. I was on. I literally campaigned for Biden in 2020. Admittedly, not this time around, but like, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So this question is for Connor then. So Connor, when 2028 comes around, are you going to be tempted to vote for JD Vance over Josh Shapiro because of this thing that just happened? You're making the case that there's going to be
not because of this thing.
So I think one of the points that Destiny was maybe trying to make was like, is this really going to be impactful for the electorate in 2028?
Hold on.
So, him violating this norm or whatever?
You're asking a question that I kind of want to address with my 2-minute rant. Tuna Chip wants to go though, so I'll
we got to get well. Yeah, let's go, Tuna. Keep that question in your pocket. I want to make sure Dev, since he's the only one without a body here, he gets a chance to get in. He can't listen to me with his body language. So we're going to go Tuna Chip, Dev, then he can answer a question. Cool. Go.
You can talk all you want about like winning over Republicans. That's not that's not the decisive path to victory. The decisive path to victory would be winning over all of the disenfranchised voters that decided not to vote because they think both of the parties are corrupt, something that this action plays into as a narrative. The number of motherfuckers that fucking Google did Joe Biden drop out on election day because they're so unplugged from politics. That's the problem. The problem is that we have an entire generation of people who don't pay attention to politics because whether or not it's TikTok, you call it TikTok, whether or not but number one, there are objective facts out there that are making them think, oh, well, wait a second. It's all just corruption. It's all just a different cock fucking us in the ass. I may as well just let it be the one that more people who are more invested.
You're talking about, real quick. I feel like you're talking about a group of people that probably already had that opinion of Biden by now. Because the MAGA Republicans for the last 5 years, their propaganda machine has been going full swing this whole time. And so if you ask low info voters, they're probably going to tell you oh yeah, Joe Biden corruptly influenced the DOJ during his time. A lot of these people probably buy into the lawfare shit. I just don't think that this is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back with respect to people.
You're thinking a different demographic than I'm talking about. I'm talking about relatively young voters who have decided Whether or not it's because fucking communists on Instagram and TikTok have been making little Hello Kitty memes saying that all democracy is a sham, or fucking quoting anarchist texts or anything with pastel colors. I'm saying there's a very large amount of the youth populace that is not voting because they've been convinced that there's no difference between the parties. And now we're playing into the narrative.
No,
and this
wait, can I ask a question? Can I ask a
Biden.
question on that? I want to ask a question on that, okay?
I want to finish the second. This is not about redeeming Biden. This is about making it so that the DNC and other Democrats disapprove of Biden so that his actions, the narrative that he's playing into, doesn't spread to be a general narrative being spread about both parties throughout the entirety of the DNC. Some pushback has to exist so that some people at all, new voters, think that voting even means anything.
Okay, yeah, I want this question answered, okay? What did Democrats gain by allowing Merrick Garland to never be heard for a Supreme Court pick? What did we get for that? Did it cause Republicans or Democrats to have more faith in the judiciary?
Why? We're not talking about people that are established voters.
I'm
talking about capturing new voters.
asking that when we cuck ourselves out over and over again to Republicans, who is this serving? Because you're saying that, well, people are going to lose faith because of the pardon. When Merrick Garland, okay, waited 2 years, all right, when he rewatched the Lord of the Rings extended edition trilogy 457 times before finally investigating Donald Trump, okay, what did we gain for that? Do people have more faith in the system? Do people have more credibility for Democrats? Or do people still say the DOJ is corrupt and is led by the president? Tell me what we got for that. Tell me what we got for waiting for Merrick Garland.
Tell me what you gain by pardoning Hunter Biden. What political
No. I want to know what we got for now, because now we've thrown away the chances forever to hold Donald Trump accountable for any federal crimes and his New York crimes, because now they're not going to sentence him.
No, we haven't. This is a fucking...
I'm going to repeat this question. I'm going to repeat it until I'm waiting. Wick, kick me off this panel. Tell me what we gained. Tell me what we gained. Tell me what we gained. Tell me what we gained for waiting for 2 years for Merrick Garland to press charges. Or to even investigate. I want to hear an answer to that question. One person. I just want to hear an answer to that.
2 years for who?
I want to know what we gained by having Merrick Garland wait for 2 years before he actually formally started investigating Donald Trump's bullshit, before the indictments came.
Nothing. If anything, I think that was probably a bad move.
So it sounds like, fuck then, trying to remain apolitical or trying to appeal to the fucking voter base or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Is anybody here arguing that we should have waited 2 years to investigate Trump? If anything, I think the Democrats and the DOJ fucked themselves by waiting for all of the DOJ stuff to be lined up right in time with the election. Because
my God,
basically
there it is,
hold on. What it looked like was, we're not trying to get the prosecutions complete and convictions done based off of the letter of the law. We're trying to give him a black eye during the election. That's what it looks like.
How do they control it always? If the prosecution start immediately, which is what Garland was worried about, it would look political. But if they wait 2 years, well, now it still looks political. This is exactly what I'm saying. And it was the same thing with the Hunter Biden shit too. So then here's the question. What was corrupt about pardoning Hunter Biden?
Okay, so I have my rant. Can I go? He's asking me. Okay.
Please go.
I do want to give a chance to SFO though. Poor guy sitting there in the corner, right, in his chair. But no, go ahead, answer, and then I want to pass the ball. Go ahead. Answer your question. No, Connor, it's you.
Connor, you
and then we'll go to SFO after. Yes, go.
So the narrative by the for Democratic establishment and Republican establishment is that they are selling us out to international interests. That is one of the main narratives of MAGA fucking Republicans, right? So Hunter Biden, over the past decade, as a lawyer, has traveled overseas as a financial advisor and a lawyer and solicited donations to his private fucking investment firm from essentially corrupt international oligarchs. There's a Romanian one who's been under investigation for corruption. There's the Chinese one who was killed by his own government. There's the entire deal with Burisma that was effectively like $500,000 to $1 million a year. Over the course of a decade, he took $11 million from foreign companies to put into an investment firm. Now, unfortunately for us, this is all legal. And if you're going to hit me with Jared Kushner, guess what? I'm going to agree with you.
Why did you just bring up a whole bunch of legal shit for a pardon?
Shut up. I know you can. So what Hunter got caught doing which was illegal, was he was funneling all of that money back to his immediate family without reporting it for taxes. Okay.
Wait,
So
hold on.
What's that done? Hold on.
Weiss-
I'm not done yet.
He watched the
Weiss
Comer Twitter video. He watched the Comer Twitter video.
hold
Oh
on.
my God, kill me.
Weiss
I'm not done yet.
Weiss
So I'm not done
investigated this for
investigated this
for
for
6 years
I'm not
and
done yet,
decided
and I'm probably going to address what you're going to say. So you're just wasting your breath. Okay.
Okay.
So he not only did he fail to report his taxes, but in his own memoir, he effectively admitted to evading his own taxes. Okay. This was reported as being swept for by the DOJ, by the IRS whistleblowers. And as a result of the deal falling through, the DOJ then went back and charged him with multiple felonies and misdemeanors, which, by the way, he was convicted of. So are we, a year ago, you were arguing with me, all the people who were sweeping for this, you were arguing with me that basically the system is working out the way that it needs to. You just need to give it time, have faith. Well, now that he's been convicted, is it, the system is rigged against him? Are you fucking shitting me? Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's fucking rain, right?
Okay,
So
now
anyway,
can they go? Now can they go?
No, we're almost done.
Go ahead.
We're almost done.
Are you not done?
Now that Biden has pardoned his son, basically what we're saying is, it's okay for you to go overseas and make fuckloads of cash from corrupt overseas oligarchs. And as a matter of fact, not only is this okay, this should be the norm. That's what you're telling me right now.
Okay, so Weiss investigated the Hunter Biden's business dealings for the last 5-6 years. He determined that they did not have enough evidence to bring a case. He did not think that they would get a conviction. That's the legal process. That's how that played out.
In the past, 3 months.
One more thing. Tax liabilities are routinely settled in civil court when the person
you're just wrong. You're just wrong. So why was he just
Hold on,
Hold on a
let's
second.
finish. Hold on, counterpoint. You went on a rant. You took a lot of time.
Well,
We're gonna let
wrong
Hutch finish.
thing.
Then we got to go to SFO because that poor SFO, he's never gonna come on my fucking show again. You just
Failure to file and then having enormous tax liabilities are routinely settled in civil court if the person admits wrongdoing and commits to paying it back. Roger Stone.
So the DOJ is corrupt.
Hold on, one fucking second. Roger Stone had it's called a prosecutorial discretion, bro. Roger Stone had a way bigger tax liability.
Can I real
Hunter
quick
Biden did.
Hutch on that. Hold on, okay? Hutch, you just said something and it was so wrong, but I appreciate why you said it, okay? Hutch said prosecutorial discretion, okay? And Hutch is correct. That's not what happened here though, because the prosecutor did have a deal worked out that they were on the table ready to accept. And you know what? You said, is the DOJ corrupt? If you want to point to corruption in an entity, in an institution, the reason why Democrats are so critical is because when Trump says it, there's nothing there. With David Weiss, who was a Trump-appointed judge, who was getting a ton of public pressure to reject the plea deal that was on the table, that happened. That did happen. This isn't even prosecutorial discretion. This is judicial discretion. Weiss threw out the plea agreement that the attorney had worked out with Hunter Biden that they'd already agreed to, and they had to go back to the table to do something different. So, yes, that is corruption.
I'll wait.
It is.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
They're
Go.
bullshitting in my fucking ear, and they're fucking acting like they're fucking doing me a goddamn favor. So have either of you fucking cunts watched the IRS whistleblowers on stream?
Has anybody watched the what?
The IRS whistleblowers that I fucking tagged you in a year ago.
Those guys felt like their investigation was being hamstrung, but Weiss had come out and said, I think, like behind the scenes, if it were up to him, he wouldn't be prosecuting the stuff like the tax stuff or the gun stuff, because normally these things don't come from like the feds. The reason why there was so much the reason why it eventually happened was because there was a shitload of political pressure that were put on this team by House Republicans.
Do you know where the political pressure came from?
Exert political
the
pressure
fuel
on
for
the
that political
investigation.
pressure.
Also, Hutch was right. Weiss was a prosecutor. My bad, I fucked that up.
The fuel for that political pressure. The fuel for that political pressure was two IRS whistleblowers who were, one was nonpartisan, the other one was a fucking Democrat, and they basically said that their investigation was hamstrung by the DOJ, and on top of that, the female assistant state attorney who was assisting
they don't decide whether or not charges.
I'm gonna finish my sentence. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
is
that's
that
fine.
she
They can
was
feel that
sleeping
way.
for the
That's
fucking
fine.
Bidens and basically playing fucking footsie with them the entire goddamn time. So
They
this
can-
testimony has been available for an entire fucking year, and somehow, despite me talking about it with you, basically,
They can
still
feel however
unwatched,
they
unlistened
want.
to, unpaid attention to.
They can feel however they want. At the end of the day, David Weiss, a U.S.
30-year
attorney,
veterans of
a
IRS
US
fucking law enforcement. Yeah, they can
US
feel however
attorney-
they
You gotta
want.
let-
Yeah,
hold on.
a
go.
US
I appreciate
attorney
the energy counter, but you gotta let him respond to you.
At
Go
the
ahead.
end of the day, David Weiss and his team of prosecutors, a guy who was appointed U.S. Attorney in Delaware, a guy who investigated Hunter Biden for several years, looked into his business dealings. He was the one that determined that they didn't have sufficient grounds to bring criminal charges. The whistleblowers
you're
can
wrong.
feel
Fine.
whatever they want to feel. It's not up to them whether or not someone brings charges.
Wait, hold on, so
with
hold on.
in order to determine whether or not this was appropriate, we would have to look at similar cases. Is it routine for the DOJ to throw people in prison for failure to file? If they,
See, Hutch, it's
especially-
not failure to file.
Hold on, one second. Especially when someone is on a drug bender. A lot of the time, when people commit crimes on drug bender, when they're on a bender, if they commit to sobriety, if they commit to treatment, this routinely happens in courts all over the country, in federal courts. People will be given a chance to settle with the government, pay a fine, go to treatment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You would have to demonstrate that people are out there routinely being charged, criminally charged, and sentenced to jail for the same crimes that Hunter Biden was. And you just can't-
so you're
not a
unfamiliar
normal
with the
thing.
content of the case. That's totally fine. I get it. So basically, if you go watch the IRS whistleblower
watch that.
conversation, I'm answering exactly
They felt
some of the points that you
hamstrung.
have
They
raised
felt
here.
hamstrung.
Okay,
And they can
I'm
have that
answering
opinion, but it's
Exactly
not
some
up
of the
to
points
them.
that you raised here. What?
Sure.
Okay. So anyways, if you go watch it, they basically say, no, we had sufficient grounds in order to believe that not only was this failure to file, but this was intentional evasion. As a matter of fact, based off of my 20 or 30 years of training and experience, this is actually an academy-based headshot for a tax evasion case. So as a result, when we had the state's attorney's office effectively sweeping for Hunter Biden and trying to make a deal and playing footsie with the lawyers, we saw this as wildly inappropriate, totally against everything that we've done as law enforcement agents. And on top of that, we weren't, we tolerated as much as we could until eventually we had to fucking blow it up. And then as a result of it blowing up, what happens is then what? The DOJ reverses course on everything. And by the way, here's another detail that you got. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Here's another detail that you guys consistently omit is the fact that the deal that fell apart because they were going to negotiate on the tax charges and the gun charges. But when the DOJ wasn't willing to give him broad sweeping, not pardon, but whatever, broad sweeping forgiveness for potential FARA violations, and they said, hey, no, those are still on the table for prosecution, that's when Hunter withdrew his fucking plea deal. So then they said, fuck you, we're going to go for it.
You're not withdrawing the plea deal if the other people.
Last year, you told me, let the system play out the way that it's supposed to do. You shouldn't be so skeptical of the DOJ. Why the fuck are you grilling my balls about the way that it fucking played out?
Do you disagree that there was political influence on this investigation?
Of course there was political influence, but the argument was that it was going both ways.
Both ways, and what is comparable? What do you mean?
I literally just said 30 seconds ago that the IRS whistleblowers thought that the DOJ was playing footsie with the Biden.
They can have that opinion. They can have that opinion, but it's not up to them whether or not to bring charges. That is up to the prosecutor.
Yeah, so they brought it up to Congress, and Congress said this is wildly inappropriate. Fuck that shit.
Weiss said he never felt any pressure from Garland to go one way or the other on this one. This was a Trump appointee. Who, again, investigated Hunter for several years. And he came to the conclusion that he didn't want to bring charges when it came to the business stuff.
How does this rebut the scenario that the man is now convicted of 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors?
What you said? Wait,
because the
No, let Hutch finish his plan.
no, Destiny, you go ahead. You got it.
Okay, so hold on, I'll press.
Oh,
So
no, neither
how
of
does
you
this-
finish,
how does
so you're
this-
going to
no,
let
no,
counterpoints
hold on.
dish out.
How does this rebut the fact that he is now convicted of 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors? So
it doesn't
what we're saying
rebut
is
anything. I
they
don't know.
reversed
Wait. How would
course.
that rebut anything?
So hold on. So the DOJ, Weiss said he didn't feel pressured one way or the other. The deal falls through. Weiss says, "Fuck it, I'm going hard," and he
Wait,
gets
hold on. To be
3
clear,
felony
you keep saying this.
convictions
Wait,
and
real
6
quick.
misdemeanors.
You keep saying the deal fell through. They reneged on the deal.
Who did?
Weiss did.
What did he renege?
You said it yourself. They changed the terms of the deal such that they weren't going to
They
give
didn't change
immunity.
the terms of the deal.
Did you say they weren't going to give immunity for anything else relating to these particular batch of crimes, right?
They were going to negotiate on the gun charge and the tax charges. They were not going to negotiate on FARA.
That was initially part of the plea deal, though, was that this case would be done.
I don't think so at all. I would have to see you bring any kind of evidence to say that was a part of the plea deal.
Okay.
No,
Okay, wait. So just to be super clear, so you're saying that Weiss didn't change the plea deal at all, that the scope of that deal, that didn't change at all. It was just Hunter Biden walking away from it after agreeing to it?
Yeah, because he thought it was broader in scope than it was.
So they were just misunderstanding that.
Yes.
Okay, I'll find an article for that in 1 second, okay? But the second question is, for the IRS agent, you keep bringing up over and over and over again, okay? What is because you have screamed that you've watched all this. What is like the silver bullets they had here that there was some kind of, or that smoking gun, what is the misconduct that they were alleging?
So there was a female assistant state attorney who was negotiating the deal in order to finish whatever. Now, bear in mind, I am summarizing this hearing, okay? And they consistently got warrants to follow up on parts of the investigation that they felt would be corroborating to the case. They kept getting shut down by the DOJ on following through on things that they believed were routine to the investigation.
They served at the behest of Weiss. She was on Weiss's team. She was representing him.
Okay, and what does that change about what I said?
And a Trump appointee ultimately is responsible for how that played out.
Listen, I get it. I'm fucking small time. I'm a city cop. But a fucking state attorney is not going to tell me the limits of a criminal investigation. I'm going to go do the criminal investigation, and then they can decide what to do with the evidence.
I don't know what that means. I mean, he is ultimately responsible for what is for whether or not the charges are brought.
I think
he's the one that makes that call.
The forest for the trees here, like
no, we're not. No, the details are important because when he just makes these random statements that just get to hang with no pushback, it's ridiculous.
They're absolutely not random. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I titled. So not only did I speak to you about this a year ago, I'm pretty sure I titled the video, "I Dare Destiny to React to the IRS Whistleblowers Thing." I'm pretty sure that's the fucking title on my channel. Not that I expect you to pay attention to my channel, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like I made this a secret for the past year.
Okay, so the IRS whistleblowers, what was their job in relation to this investigation, or what are they? What are these people? Do they work at the IRS? Are they cops?
They were looking into Hunter Biden's finances.
Yeah, but what is their job? What are they? They're IRS whistleblowers. What are they? What do these people do for work?
Yeah, they're IRS cops.
They were investigators. Yes, they were looking into Hunter's finances.
Okay, so they're investigators. They're looking into Hunter's finances. They're asking for what, like a warrant or a subpoena? And is David Weiss saying no, or what? Who's saying no, and for what reason?
Okay, so allegedly it's the female assistant state attorney who works for Barry Weiss who's saying no.
Okay,
Barry Weiss.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying.
So then, what was her reason for saying no? What do the IRS whistleblowers say?
So they say that they have worked 20 to 50 years.
Don't care about this. I'm asking, why did they say that their requests were shut down by the state attorney?
They were alleging she was partisan.
They were saying that it was because of they said it's because of an improper friendly relationship between the DOJ and the Hunter Biden defense
deal, basically, yeah.
Okay, between the Trump appointed prosecutor and Hunter Biden, there was a friendly relationship.
Yes.
Okay,
that's what they're saying.
We have no evidence of that whatsoever, right? I'm guessing.
Aside from the
except for 10 hours of fucking congressional testimony, besides that, we don't have anything.
No, but you seem to think that because these people felt hamstrung, that's definitive evidence
Besides the fact that they wrote a warrant for a location that they wanted to go get, investigative related documents that were stored there, and then the fucking DOJ goes and tells Hunter's team about it. Yeah, besides that, we don't have anything.
Is it not standard for IRS cops, investigators to be denied subpoenaed or denied subpoenas? Like, are they just given carte blanche every time they request a subpoena?
Except for they were told in the conversation that, yes, I believe there's probable cause, but however, because of the timing, we're not going to go through with this warrant.
Okay, so they can have that.
I would view that as an improper sweeping for your target. Yeah, 100%.
They can have that opinion, but that's not definitive evidence that there was like partisan politics at play. And I feel like this whole argument just falls on it, like just completely evaporates when, again, the guy who was in charge of the investigation was this guy, David Weiss, who Republicans were like amping up and they were really hoping that he was going to be the guy to like throw Hunter Biden in prison. And now they fucking hate this guy. And now Jim Jordan is doing interviews yesterday saying that they're going to haul David Weiss up for a congressional inquiry. It's just the whole story is just so fucking flimsy.
Okay, so let's zoom out a little.
Like
let's
hard
zoom out
evidence.
a little bit. Let's get past legality. Do you think that the argument that Trump says, which by the way, I think Trump's full of shit. You guys know me. I campaigned for the fucking the Kamala campaign a month ago, right?
Solidarity.
So anyway,
Victory
do you think?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Do you think that it hurts or helps the narrative that our political elites are selling us out to international corporations when you have the president's son for a decade working with international corrupt companies, taking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into his personal accounts, funneling it into his family accounts, not reported to the IRS properly. And then even after that, it's proven that this isn't a failure to file, this is tax evasion. He's charged and convicted, and then he's given a pardon at the last moment. Now, again, as a father, I get it. But I'm just talking about, don't you think that that is fucking rocket fuel for the narrative that we're sold out by our political elites?
Again, I'm pushing back on the idea that it's standard practice to prosecute people for these kinds of tax issues. Roger Stone, his tax liability was orders of magnitude larger than Hunter Biden's.
And his, you're not going to catch
Roger Stone.
I'm making the point that this is not like inconsistent with DOJ practice. Like they very, very oftentimes will settle these matters in a civil court.
Here's another detail. Is it routine for somebody like a politically connected private person to have their IRS tax bill bailed out by a major Democrat donor? And you could say Republican, I don't give a fuck. But is it normal? So oftentimes on Twitter, I will get the rebuttal. Well, didn't he cover his tax bill? Isn't everything caught up? Hunter Biden didn't pay the fucking tax bill. It was a random Democrat fucking donor.
Who gives a fuck? Is that against the law?
Give a fuck, Hutch. What? Don't
Of all the things to be upset about, this is so silly to me.
You know what, Hutch?
That a wealthy benefactor settled the IRS bill?
Why I care. I'm going to answer you exactly why I care. Because if I smoke fucking crack, if I bang hookers, if I cheat on my wife, if I get my dead brother's fucking widow addicted to methamphetamine, if I'm alleged to have banged my fucking niece, if I take millions of dollars and launder it into my fucking family, and then on top of that, where
are you getting this millions of dollars laundered into my family?
DOJ was fucking sweeping for me, then nobody in their right fucking mind would defend me. But we have two fucking people here tonight who are both wildly intelligent political pundits who are pulling out the stops to defend this behavior as normal. And not only that,
let me explain.
The fucking thing that pisses me off is the fact that your audiences eat this shit up because they respect you.
Okay,
that's
just
what pisses me off. Okay. That's what pisses me off is that your fucking gay ass fucking audience.
Let me explain something. Let me explain something real quick.
Hold on. Let's let Hutch respond to the. Hutch can respond to that.
Let me
defend your gay ass audience, sir.
Is that what he just said?
Yeah, I think all your audience.
Was it?
Let me just briefly explain, and then I want to hear from my other panelists because I feel like you and me have been going through it. I feel like you and me have been going back and forth for a little too long now. So I come from recovery circles, okay? I am surrounded in my community by people who sank to the lowest depths you could possibly imagine when they were in the grips of an addiction. And a lot of these people did terrible things. And I have seen hundreds and thousands of people completely turn their lives around and get on a good path. I don't think that we necessarily should judge people based on what they do when they're in the grips of something like a drug addiction. I say the same thing for.
Should we pardon all drug addicts?
I say that. No. This is a separate issue. I'm just saying, you brought up the drug abuse stuff, and I say the same thing when it comes to Jordan Peterson. So when I talk about his drug addiction, some people in my chat make fun of him. I make it a point to say every time that to me is off limits. Drug addiction is real. People do really fucked up shit when they're in the grips of a drug addiction. And Hunter Biden has been sober for fucking 5.5 years now. So for him to go through everything he went through in terms of all that political all those political attacks from the Republicans and maintain his sobriety, I think is pretty remarkable. I think people
Sure,
should be
I'll read
allowed
his
to retain those.
autobiography.
You got to get
Well,
more
then
people
it's
in.
not the same
You
as
got to get
whether
more
or not
people
he's
in.
guilty.
We're on this point. We could
He
maybe
brought up the drugs. That's why.
Hey,
I
as
talked
long as
about it.
criminals
Hush.
feel bad after their crimes, then I guess we can forgive them.
Yeah,
before anyone else goes, I want to get
Yes,
Short Fat Otaku a chance to
Sure.
get in here.
Literally,
right? Before
yes.
we go off on any other tangents and stuff. SFO, you've been waiting patiently. Go ahead.
So Connor, I'm generally against you in this, but for this part of the conversation, you are more correct. I decided to look it up. Biden and we signed the pretrial division agreement, included the immunity guarantee. Things went sideways. I posted the articles in the group chat, by the way, if you want to look at them. But basically what happened was the judge started to question the deal. She started to poke some holes in it, and then it was pulled. So there might have been some handshaking happening there.
Listen.
But I'm not equipped to talk about that specifically.
There was something that happened before that, though. There was something that happened before that, though. Like the original agreement, there was like an issue. There was a big disagreement about the scope of the immunity, but there was also an issue of like whether or not he would be charged with the tax stuff. Originally, he wasn't going to be charged with the tax stuff. And as I already mentioned, there are so many other high profile cases where the tax liability was so much larger, where there was no criminal charges that were brought. Because they decided to bring those charges, that initially caused Hunter Biden's lawyers to like walk away from the deal. Then they re-entered negotiations, but their decision, Weiss's decision to pursue criminal charges on the tax stuff, did immediately follow intense political pressure from Republicans on Capitol Hill.
After it had all been paid back, right? Like these
Yes.
charges are coming after everything had already been paid back. The way that the story works is it just relies on a clever and misinformed telling of how all international business and all international relations work. The idea that like, well, a guy's working for corrupt companies overseas and he's making money and his taxes are unreported. Like you're painting this whole insane story of this insanely corrupt business of this guy who's working for these seedy, shady companies overseas. He's getting his money and he's getting kickbacks to his family and he's lying about these illegal companies he's working for and he's not declaring it on his taxes, getting his money illegally. Those are FARA violations, by the way, which surprisingly he was never charged with, right? And it's crazy that we have this insanely hot narrative for this man who was investigated for fucking 4 years, okay, by Weiss and his team. Not to mention however many fucking, Jim Jordan circle jerk sessions they have in Congress for how many different committees have to come together to also, okay, analyze, from 42 different angles, the fucking size of fucking Hunter Biden's cock plus how much crack he fucking smoked in whatever given video, okay? Despite all of this, at the end of this whole road of this insane fucking CIA counter op story you're giving me, we've got a couple tax charges for taxes that are already paid on amounts that are smaller than other people, Roger Stone included, have only seen civil penalties for. And then we have insane 4473 gun violation charges, okay? Because of a thing that he wrote in a memoir in 2021 and because they found cocaine residue on a fucking gun holster, all right?
Do you know what's so great? Do you know what's so great about this? Is because you get to, like, emotionally label all of the shit where you're like,
you're the one that was emotionally labeling everything. You said he was working for corrupt companies overseas and blah, blah, blah.
Biden. Oh, yeah, hold on. Do you know where I get my evidence that he was involved in insane shit? It's from Hunter Biden's own text message chain where
Illegal
he's saying, he's talking, hold on. I'm going to tell you. You don't need to interrupt me. So he's talking to a personal confidant, and he says, I can't believe all the wild shit I'm wrapped up in. My fucking contact in China who gave me hundreds of thousands of dollars is now missing and presumed dead. This isn't me.
What does that
making
have to
shit
do?
up.
Explain that statement. Wait. Explain that statement. What did that statement have to do with anything we're talking about? Tie that back in.
Because Destiny, and I can't believe that you're pretending to be this obtuse, because you said that I am inflating emotionally the narrative. I'm not inflating the narrative emotionally whatsoever.
How did that statement tie into any illegal, improper?
You asked me a question.
Okay. I'm going to ask the same question when you're done with this irrelevant gambling.
I am curious what that has to. Hold on.
It doesn't, Wick. It doesn't tie anything.
I'm curious what like that statement you just read about how a Chinese confidant or someone gave him hundreds of thousands of dollars and now missing. Which charge is that related to, or potential charge?
It would have been the tax evasion shit.
Why? How?
Why? Because he's taking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars over the course of a decade from other companies, and he's failing to report it properly to the IRS. And the people that he's in business with are corrupt people who end up getting arrested or murdered in their countries of origin.
The process
When you say, when you say,
people,
wait,
the
wait,
process,
when you say
entire
people, when you say
fucking,
people that
Jack
he's in
reads a
business,
fucking narrative about this shit, and it would sell off of the fucking bookshelves. But you guys are like, no, this is every day in Washington. No, it's not. It's not.
But he was investigated for it, though, bro. He was
And he
investigated
got
for
charged
years.
and convicted.
not
You
for
don't
anything,
get
not for
that.
somebody
You're talking about-
dying
you're
in
talking about
China
vaccinated.
on a
We're
text.
talking about
Okay, hold on.
funneling millions
This
of
is the
dollars to his
bullshit of this
family.
conversation.
There has
This
never
is
been
the
any
bullshit of this
evidence. Hold
conversation.
on, wait.
This is
Let me
the
say
bullshit of this conversation.
David Weiss.
Keep saying,
Okay,
you
go
guys
ahead.
keep saying, and he was investigated with the implications
was.
that nothing was found. But he was charged and convicted of
I don't think
3
anyone's
felonies and
contending
6
that he wasn't
misdemeanors.
convicted.
talking
What we're
about
arguing about tonight is
heinous
the
crimes.
pardon, and
talking-
we've gone.
Wait, what? But wait, but the
We're
things he was
pardoned.
charged with were taxes. Not for
Yes.
dealing, not for having people murdered overseas or FARA violations or
He didn't
corrupt.
kill them, Destiny. The Chinese government did.
No, you're not.
What does this have to do with his
I
charges?
feel like you're not processing what we're saying.
Wait, real quick. He could have made the money. He could have
millions of
that
dollars.
has nothing to do with anything. He could have made the money working at Dairy Queen and not reported it. But these are tax charges. It has nothing to do with illegal or corrupt.
Interested in Al Capone. He was only convicted of tax evasion. He was never found guilty of
Counterpoint.
murder.
You gotta let the people respond to you. You got to.
The
Okay? I
criminal
love the
justice,
energy.
the criminal justice system played out. The criminal justice system played out. He was investigated for these financial crimes that you're definitively declaring happened. You just said a moment ago that he funneled millions of dollars to his family. Not only was he investigated by Prosecutor Wise, he was investigated by the Comer-led subcommittee in the Republican-led House. They investigated Hunter Biden's business dealings for fucking 2 straight years, and the most they could come up with was a $10,000 check that was given that Biden gave to his brother for a fucking car.
You know
loan.
what, Hutch? I love that you brought this up. I love
Yes.
that you brought this up, okay?
Right.
So as a part of the IRS testimony, what Hunter Biden did is he took hundreds of thousands of dollars that he got from random folks overseas, and he channeled them to immediate family members of himself and his uncle and his dad. And those things weren't properly taxed.
Hold on, wait a second. When you say he funneled money, when you say that 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 he
Well,
funneled
let
money, when you say
Destiny, let
that he
Destiny
funneled money,
question his
when you
counter.
say that
Shut
he
up.
funneled money,
Shut up.
when you say that he funneled money,
Counter. Shut up
Yeah,
for a
this is-
moment. I'd like to go a lot. Destiny, go ahead.
just step by step, okay? Because we do these fungibility of money things. It's so stupid, okay? If I go to China and some guy and I sell marijuana to a dude and he pays me $10, and then I come back home and I'm out with a friend and that friend is like, "Oh, will you cover dinner?" and I pay for dinner. You can't come by and be like, Destiny did illegal drug sales in China and he funneled that money right to his streamer friend when they were in fucking Miami.
Yeah,
like,
you feel
is there
shit,
any
though.
evidence
Hold on,
is there any evidence that directly links any of Hunter's dealings in any of these corrupt or criminal manners to family members? Because Hunter is making money in a lot of different ways. You can't just say that he made $10 million. Let's look at $100,000 he made from this place and then look at any money that he paid there. I'm going to connect these things directly. That's retarded.
No, it's not. Because if you had actually watched the IRS investigation whistleblowers, this isn't fucking $10 for a weed deal in China. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars is nothing if you said he made $10 million. That's not any amount of money. $100,000? You said he made millions and millions of dollars.
So anyways, I was in the middle of a sentence. Thank you. So what ended up happening was those hundreds of thousands of dollars went to family members. And when the IRS agents wanted to go to family members to say, hey, you took like tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars from Hunter Biden, did he tell you that this was income or this was gifts? They were prevented from doing so by the DOJ, who was rubbing feet with the fucking Biden defense
Can't they
team.
literally just pull their tax forms? You would see that on their taxes. It would be reported as either a gift or income, no?
And the Republicans had subpoena power. The Republicans had, bro.
the problem.
Connor.
Wait, the problem was they didn't have to
Congress,
show their
Republicans
taxes to the IRS? What are you talking? What?
Okay. So it has to get taxed.
I feel like
in
we're
one of those
relitigating
locations.
the
Hold on,
actual
hold on.
charges.
Yeah.
Let's just all understand that the charges, whether they are farcical or not, they happened, right?
They're not farcical.
He was convicted, and
Not the financial ones. Not
later
this,
on,
like funneling millions of dollars to family. This is all just conjecture. All of it.
So hold on. It's not even conjecture. It's a part of the investigation, you twat. Don't say wrong things in front of me and I won't yell at you.
The Republicans in Congress had subpoena power. Do you deny that?
Anyways, I'm going to explain something because it's very
Wait, no,
simple.
Connor, you've been talking a lot. Do you deny it?
What happened was What had
Connor,
happened was,
do you deny that they had subpoena power?
hundreds
The
of thousands
Republicans
of
in
dollars
Congress.
to overseas companies. He failed to report it for taxes. When they wanted to follow up with the people that he gave that money to, they also did not report it on their taxes. Now, those people have plausible deniability because if it's something like a gift or some shit like that, then and they believe that the taxes were already taken out of it, then they don't have any kind of liability. But if they knew that it was income and they failed to report, then they would potentially get wrapped up. That is what the IRS
and David Weiss killed this because he's friends with Biden. Is that what you're saying? And David Weiss killed this because he was friends with Biden. Is that what you're saying?
No, he didn't. His assistant state attorney tried to kill it, and then the IRS whistleblowers raped her.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's give it to Quibbles. Try to.
Okay, I have two basic questions. My first question is whether the people on this call think that Connor points. I don't know why I did that thing. Think that that Connor is existing in this like post-truth world as the MAGA world does, which I assume everyone agrees that he does not live in that world. He's certainly not MAGA. And then the second question that I have is this the kind of argument that we want to be having going into 2026 and going into 2028, or do we want to be able to center the conversation primarily on the matters of Trump's corruption? And if our goal is to be focusing on Trump's corruption, is it useful for us to be continuing to relitigate this kind of bullshit over and over and over, or does it make more sense to just say, hey, like he's probably guilty, and even if we want to like figure it out, then let's let the justice system figure it out, rather than doing this bullshit where we're pardoning him, and let's allow the actual like conversation to be built around the matters of Trump's corruption, which are much more clear.
Well, first of all, the justice system did figure it out, and he pardoned him. That's all of that is. Nothing's wrong or corrupt or illegal.
The justice system figured it out, and he pardoned them.
You know, he's not a part of the justice system.
It's not done yet.
He's not part of the justice system.
He interrupted.
Wait. What do you think? You know that a pardon isn't just for turkeys not getting killed on Thanksgiving. What do you mean?
Oh, okay. The pardon system.
If I pardon,
counterpoints. Let Hagrid explain. I'm sorry. Let Quibbles explain. Quibbles, go ahead.
Yeah, the pardon system is meant to be in cases where we have come to a conclusion in terms of the justice system, but now there's overwhelming evidence that the justice system got it wrong, and either we have DNA evidence that proves that the justice system got it wrong, or for some other reason we're overwhelmingly confident that it is clearly wrong. That's the point of the pardon system.
No, that's the point of an appeal, and that's the point of overturning something. That's not the pardons are not supposed to be for your appeals process or for new evidence to reopen a case. That's completely and totally incorrect. A pardon is for somebody that is guilty of a crime. That's why they have to generally accept the fact that they're guilty before they accept the pardon. That's what a pardon is for.
I feel like the argument should be centered around the nature of like the pardon powers for the presidency. That's what the real conversation is about. So like unless you reform those powers, every single president is going to engage in favorable pardons. Like can you think of a single president off the top of your head that didn't engage in this kind of action? It just so happens that Donald Trump did it to a comically absurd degree. We're talking about pardoning people like Janine Pirro's husband, who was found guilty of tax evasion. He just gave him a pardon. Dinesh D'Souza just gave him a pardon. So like the fact that Donald Trump did this like over like 100 times, I just can't be bothered to give a fuck about this. If you want to have a conversation about the pardons, whether or not they're okay, like fine, let's do that. But let's center the conversation about like, should presidents have this authority, or should governors have this authority? Like when we're talking about the states, that's a fair question to ask. But in the current climate, it just seems absurd to be like, we're talking about this instead of Kash Patel being nominated to lead the FBI. Like, which one do you think is a more severe violation of a norm?
We're not allowed to talk about any of the Trump stuff anyway, because even when we allowed the Republicans to walk all over us and get whatever they fucking want, what the fuck do we get? Like, you guys, like, they stole a Supreme Court pick. Trump got unlimited criminal immunity from everything. Are we talking about Trump's corruption now? Like, did that further any of those conversations? Oh, no, wait. He didn't even see a fucking federal courtroom. Wow. How far did that get us?
How far did talking about Trump's corruption get us, though? Like, this has been...
It got us nowhere because we didn't actually do anything with the system. Because we waited 2 years to start the fucking federal prosecution on him.
Talking about it in newspapers, in blogs, on streams.
Yeah, but we didn't want to seem politically biased, so we sat there and waited. So we sat there and we waited. Yeah, and we waited and nothing happened. You know what I would have liked to have seen? I wish that Merrick Garland would have been as eager to go after Trump for his classified documents as he was to go after Biden for his.
Sure. But that wasn't a result of us not talking about it, right? Like, so this complaint that we always talk about one thing but never talk about the other.
But we are only talking about one thing. Our entire concept of the universe changed when that indictment, or when the investigation was announced by Merrick Garland, because it was the first evidence of faster than light travel, because Merrick Garland was so fucking fast to appoint a special counsel the microsecond that those documents were found in Biden's garage. Meanwhile, Trump has his 57th box of documents moved from one room to another just for fucking jokes, okay? Obstructing an actual FBI investigation, all right? And it's like, okay, well, hold on. What does her think about this? Okay, we got to get a fucking report out here about fucking Biden. Like, what are we getting for any of it? Norms only work when both sides are following the norms. You don't gain anything by upholding norms on your side.
How do we get back to
You don't think then that the solution is to hold them to the norms? No one, I think, here is.
That would be great.
I don't think anyone here is fighting you and
right.
saying. No one here is fighting you, but when we're saying that we're not going to also do the other end of the thing, which is try and create a public narrative that motivates enough people to vote so that we get out of losing the entire executive, judicial, and fucking House and Senate, we have to dig a hole out of here. So far, for a normal person, this is what they see. The DNC begs Biden to drop. Biden says he's not going to. He's going to stay in the race. He eventually drops. He hands it directly to Kamala, getting rid of the due practice that is usually adopted by the DNC. Then Kamala runs. She loses. Same day, actually, before even that, the same day that he drops out, he also says he is not going to pardon his son. He says, I'm not going to do it with Hunter.
Listen to that.
Let me finish. This is important. He lets Kamala run and lose a loss that is very likely because of his actions, his selfish actions. Then, as soon as she loses and it's no longer going to affect the election, he suddenly changes his mind and he pardons Hunter. The second that it won't impact election results. It seems as if the only reason he promised before to not pardon Hunter is because he was like, you know what, that might affect the election. But now that I've lost, let's go ahead and sneak it in. I'm waiting for the next promise Biden makes so I can put $1 million betting against it. That's how confident people have to think of the DNC as just being illegitimate liars right now. Something needs to be a contradictory narrative to that.
To say that something needs to be contradictory, that's why we lost, is because people like you already have that idea that we have to rise to some impossible standard while Republicans are literally subhuman filth, okay, that are just rolling around in the dirt. What?
Principle is an impossible standard.
Principle, yep. showing up to a knife fight with your fists over and over again and getting stabbed in the eyeballs is what we're doing. And you're saying if we just have the 15 eyeballs chopped out, okay, then finally we'll be able to.
This for a fucking heartbeat. Okay, so hold on. So just to be clear, I get. By the way, I understand the.
Please stop saying that. Please just try to get your point. Stop saying the thing over and over again of like, oh, I'm not supporting Trump. Just get to the point. Jesus, you do this a million times. I don't know why.
Because you're getting mugged. Anyways, so the point is that what advantage does pardoning Hunter confer? Now, if you want to say as a father...
What disadvantage does it confer?
The fact that now everybody thinks you're...
Electoral?
I'm sorry. Hold on. What? Now people don't trust the criminal justice system? Now people think that the parties are corrupt? Now, what's changed?
We lost by 1.5%.
Of the people that we lost, probably 50% of them can't even name the 3 branches of government. Why the fuck do you think a pardon for Hunter Biden is going to matter?
You're making my argument for me.
Really close. Everything matters. It's reasonable to look at everything from a political perspective.
No.
When we're in politics.
Hold on. No. Quibbles is so perfect here. Okay. So you're saying, let's say that you have, I don't know, like the LA Lakers from the fucking 90s or thousands, or you have the Pats from the fucking 2000s, right? You have a perfect team and you can do the stupidest shit and fucking win, right? In this analogy, this is the Republicans, right? Versus you, you're a part of the Democrat Party, which is not one party. It's a coalition of like 18 different interests who all fucking backstab each other all the goddamn time. You have to play a perfect game in order to win every single time. And what Quibbles and I are saying is you are giving away an advantage that is unnecessary to the fucking game, which is you're saying, yeah, we did something fucked up, but it's actually based, actually. It's actually cool when we fucking, sweep for our bullshit because fuck them. The other team, they fucking give up the game all the time. They make all sorts of mistakes. Well, guess what? This isn't a fucking game where like fairness has anything to do with victory. Like victory depends upon you building an intelligent coalition of exactly harmonized fucking groups. It's part of the reason why I feel bad for you motherfuckers all the goddamn time is because if you take a stance on one issue, you step on the dick of another issue. Being a Democrat is hard as fuck.
Okay, can we come at this from a slightly different angle here? Like, let's consider the fact that Donald Trump is assembling a cabinet that are very openly telegraphing their intentions of going after political enemies, including Hunter Biden. So the guy that he nominated to be the FBI director, Kash Patel, he talks about a list of people in the media, in government, in the private sector, that he is going to systematically target with the FBI should he be confirmed. Is there not an argument to make that Joe Biden protecting his son from that explicit political intention to go after enemies is valid? Like, is that not
as a father,
somewhat of an argument?
As a father, yes, but he's not doing it as a father. He's doing it as a president. This is a public office.
He's the father who is the president who has the power to stop that.
Listen,
hold on. Let me ask this. This is to Quibbles. Quibbles.
Yeah.
You have a son. You have the power to stop him from having people who have said over and over and over, we're going to come after you and your family, and anything we can do to put them in prison and hurt them, we will do. You have the power to sign a paper. Sure, it'll hurt the country, but you can protect your son from this. You don't do that?
The answer is for a whole host of reasons, partly because I'd like to be a good father. I have no interest in being president of the United States. That's the answer.
Well,
the answer
just
is
entertain the hypothetical. Wait, no, just entertain the hypothetical.
The answer is if you're willing to be president of the United States, you have to take an oath.
You have to be willing to sacrifice your
understanding that the presidency and the United States comes first. That's part of what you have to sacrifice to be president, obviously.
So hold on, Hutch. This is the strongest argument. However, within there is like a conceit. And that conceit is effectively the republic is dead. That you can't trust prosecutors, you can't trust public defenders, you can't trust the courts, you can't trust the judges. Because as soon as you have Kash Patel, the head executive of this of the DOJ, everything falls apart. And
it's not.
Real quick.
But
I'm okay with your argument. I agree with your argument. As a father, 100%. I'm pardoning my son 100% of the times. However, what I'm saying is you basically just told me that Joe Biden does not believe the court systems will be fair to his son.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. The courts, wait, the
that is what I said.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Kash Patel does not control the judiciary, for example. He has no control whether or not a jury is going to find Hunter Biden guilty of whatever charges Kash Patel is fantasizing about bringing, but he's not even talking about specific crimes. Kash Patel is just up there saying, these people fucked with Donald Trump, and so I'm going to send the DOJ after them. You can do plenty of damage to someone without securing a conviction. You can bog them down in a legal process that can stretch out for years.
Treatment. Yeah.
Can I just, a real quick thing? Hold on. Also, it's a real quick thing. Okay, because I forgot when you talk to conservatives, you have to like spell every single thing out. When people say
you're not talking to conservatives.
When people say trust the institutions or trust the systems, okay, I guess we have to say more words, all right, because there are no maxims of language or whatever. We say trust the systems and trust the institutions as long as there's not obvious, overt corruption or pressure to get these people to act in different ways. Obviously, okay. If it came out that there was a jury trial and every single jury member had been given $1 million and the judge had been given $1 million and the defense and the prosecutor had been given $1 million by one person, what an outcome, and we go, wow, that's pretty corrupt. You can't turn around and go, oh, I'm not using me to trust the institutions. It looks like you fucking lied. Okay. The issue with how Trump is
right now.
Yes, that is the case right now. Because what Donald
You're
Trump
going
is
to need
trying
to back
to do.
that up in a second.
Yeah,
I'll let
sure
you finish,
thing.
but you're
I
going to
will.
need to back
I'll
that
back
up.
it up right the fuck now. Okay. What Donald Trump is trying to do is he's trying to put heads in these departments that have already said outwardly that they would engage in behavior that is antithetical to the executive branch, antithetical to the department or office they hold, and antithetical to the U.S. Constitution. For instance, when Kash Patel talks about how he will go after people politically, people in the media, okay? And the issue is, now you'll say things like, okay, well, that's just one guy. And you know what, Connor? You're right. That is just one guy. Okay. But the issue is that Donald Trump is also pushing for things like Schedule F that would allow them to massively restock and reshape the bureaucratic underbodies of these institutions with people that would only and exclusively take orders because of an allegiance to the president of the United States. The issue isn't just one man destroying the whole system, because generally that doesn't work. The issue is that they are taking a comprehensive top-down approach to recreate these institutions in a way that would allow them to do exactly these things.
Yes.
Okay. So is the Republic
Should we
dead?
therefore,
It's threatened
The
by Donald
Republic will
Trump. Does
be
anybody
dead
disagree?
if the Republic will be dead if Democrats are saluting themselves and talking about how good they are at holding themselves accountable, while Republicans are literally fucking the country in the ass. Yes.
should we pardon every single person that the Republicans might potentially go after?
If it's a political prosecution and you got
Preemptively?
good reason to feel it, then sure, fuck it. That'd be fucking hilarious.
So I'm
actually.
asking, should we pardon preemptively
Every trans prisoner
every
right
single
now,
person,
every trans,
not just
every
not
black,
just
every
trans
gay,
person,
every
yeah.
woman.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! You actually,
All-
by saying that, you
all
just
potential Democrats.
lowered my opinion so much of Biden. Because you know what Biden should have done? He should have given a blanket pardon to Hillary Clinton as well, just because that would be fucking hilarious. I can't believe he didn't do that. Fuck, that would have been so based.
Okay.
Okay, so I assume that's a joke, right? You don't actually want that. So I'm curious what the
Hunter
difference is.
Biden was the target of a political prosecution for half a decade. And this is what they managed to get him on at the end, okay? Joe Biden feels like it was political. The president has the power to pardon people. And in this case, he exercised his pardon power. I don't think there's anything comparable to any of the pardons that Trump has done or what you're asking for, pardoning every hypothetical person that could be convicted of a crime.
I just don't think it's like me personally. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to spend a lot of time getting tripped up about pardons. Like when Donald Trump did his pardons, I looked at it and I rolled my eyes. I was like, well, this is fucking bullshit. But
Hold on, Hutch.
But it's,
if
but
I
it's
may.
laid out in our Constitution.
You did
that
more than
the
that.
president gets wait, no. That's literally
And
what I
finish
did.
your
What
point,
I did
Hutch,
at the
then I have
time.
a
I'm not going to
question
sit here and
for
say we need to do something about this because it's just so clearly defined that the president has these broad powers to do that. There's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but,
like
This is a
criticize bad shit,
substantively different. Hold on, let me make this point because I think that we can't ignore the fact that this isn't just a normal pardon, right? That this is a pardon not just for the crime, but for a period, for a decade of time. This, at least, the only other one that I'm aware of that is similar was Ford pardoning Nixon, right, for a period of time. So this isn't like normal for a pardon, and I think that it's at least a salient thing for people to have questions and maybe ask why. Perhaps.
Why do we
Like,
think that?
well,
Why do we think there's a larger pardon? Why do we think?
Well, I know why I
Are
think
violations.
because again, jackals have said that they're going to come after my family for anything they can possibly find. So yeah, if I'm a dad, I'm throwing a monkey wrench in that work.
It's
every
probably if
single
you
fucking
think
time.
the Republicans
I
are
agree
going to
with
sit
that,
there and
yeah.
go on a fishing expedition, which by the way they accuse Democrats of doing, which I wish they would. They should. Okay, we should go fucking fishing. But which Republicans have done. They did it with Ken Starr for Bill Clinton. They've done it for Hunter Biden now with all this bullshit. They did it with Hillary Clinton, with the FBI and the fucking DOJ. So I mean, like Republicans do this over and over and over and over again, where they fish and they fish and they fish. Okay, and you guys are doing these things where it's like, well, we just have to be better than them. We have to be better than them. What did that get Hillary Clinton? What did it get Hillary Clinton to cooperate with the FBI on the whole thing? What did it get Hillary Clinton to do the Benghazi hearings for 12 hours? Donald
popular
Trump
vote
has
and losing the
Donald
election
Trump.
barely?
If you do an analysis of every word that he's spoken, Donald Trump has said the Fifth Amendment. I plead the Fifth more than any other human being in existence. Okay, and you're going to tell me that what did Hillary Clinton gain for that? What do people view
You're
favorably?
asking what Hillary Clinton gained for that, but there's a direct answer. What the answer is that she almost won that election. It was an incredibly close election.
that's called
Hold on.
comfort, friend.
Ev, do you want to play too?
It's
We
called
got.
comfort.
We almost won the
We
election.
lived in an electoral
That's the
system.
almost. You and I are standing. You and I are standing
Hey,
on
look
the
at it.
shores
Dev's
of the
trying to talk.
Atlantic,
Dev's
and the
trying to
nukes
talk.
are coming.
Dev
It's like
is
we got
finally
really
trying to
close
talk.
to stopping the launch.
Ev is really close to trying to talk.
I might as well
You want
hop in
to
a little
play
bit.
too?
I am kind
Please.
of here. So
Yes, you're not just eye candy. Go ahead.
So like I said at the start, Connor, I'm sympathetic to your position, right? Because I get it. Biden's pardon is unraveling the institutional fabric because it's violating norms, and I generally agree with you. But I want you to understand that things are already unraveling. Okay, we're already at that point. We now live in a different paradigm. You must do what they are doing to you, and you have to do it to them repeatedly until they lose the taste for it. And I know that you understand this because you would say it about Russia and Ukraine. You would say it about other forms of lawfare. This is now what you have to do. We're at this point now. It sucks, but here we are.
No, so
You just described a war.
I don't believe in this at all.
They're declaring war. Yes, that's already happened. When one side declares war, you're in a war. Yes,
Hey.
you don't get to decide. I don't want to be at war. I actually don't consent to that.
War, if you actually believe we're at war, then pardon everyone, right?
What
That's
do we
it looks
gain
like to
from
be
that?
at
Who
war.
else would we even pardon? What do you mean?
If you believe that we're
bare minimum.
actually at war, if we're
Why not your
actually
brother?
at the point where there's no getting back from the brink, and that there's no possible way to get back to a system where the structures of our government function, then the solution surely is to grapple with that as the reality.
there are
It's very
stages.
different than just pardoning your own
There
son
are
and then
stages.
calling it a day.
There are stages to the fighting, of course. Just because you're at war with somebody doesn't mean you start genociding them, right? Or doesn't mean you nuke them immediately, right? Obviously, there are stages. One of the issues right now is that the Republicans can operate with impunity, and they have for decades in all of these realms. Whether it's when they stole the
so
election
what's
from
your-
Gore, whether it's when Trump accused the election of being stolen multiple times, whether it's losing the
election.
Supreme Court pick. Yeah, yes, all of these things, okay, the Republicans have done with impunity. And why wouldn't they? And you know what the immoral action is? It is immoral when you don't enforce consequences on the other side, because what you're saying is you should do the behavior over and over again. Because you know what? Republicans should do this. Republicans should go after Hunter, and they should go after Joe, and they should abuse the DOJ, and they should do Schedule F, because there's no reason not to. Why wouldn't you? If all we're going to do is sit here and chastise ourselves for ever doing anything, why the fuck wouldn't you take advantage of us if you're a Republican? We're asking for it.
Yeah, I think this is
Are our
public
skirts
eye.
too short?
Okay.
Are we
If you
wearing?
believe-
Did you
I have a
say
little bit of a
Democrats were wearing? Okay, fair enough. Go ahead. Tuna chip. Go ahead.
Are you in a nursery?
Me?
Like
oh,
a chi-
him.
No,
Yeah,
like
him.
a children's school? What is that in the background there? Or is that your kids' room? Never mind. I apologize.
We won't dig too deep
Tuna,
into
go
it.
ahead.
Okay. People keep saying as a father, or like if you were in his position, wouldn't you do this too? And I can see conceding to that, and I can see that making sense. At the same time, I'm not Biden. I'm a person seeing what Biden is doing. I'm talking to what people should do who aren't Biden. It's what do we do now? And you want to learn something from the right wing? You want to learn something from the fucking corrupt right? Learn to disavow. Learn to fucking play from a losing position. You can say something and do something else, but why are we all sitting around acting as if we're gonna just, you know what? Let's go mask off. Being mask off is the right way to win. That's not why Trump has won. It's not why they were able to build the base that made it so that Trump could have that power. That is through the covert method. So
Wait, can you tell me real quick, what did they disavow?
Narrative.
What did the Republicans disavowed from Trump?
What do you mean disavowed from
January
Trump?
6th.
You
I'm
said
not
if you
talking
should
about the
learn, if you
Republicans.
should
January
learn
6th,
I'm talking
immediately
about
after
the
my
foundations
No,
that
I'm
got
asking.
to
You said
Trump.
Yeah, you're saying that one of the things we have to learn to do is disavow. So I'm asking, what did the Republicans disavow from Trump?
January 6th for 2 weeks.
Oh, so January 6th,
come
when they
on,
refused
stop.
to convict him in the Senate, and when they dismissed all of his federal charges, and when they gave him criminal immunity, absolute criminal immunity for half the shit that he did. Cool.
And when
Any
his
other
voters
examples?
reelected him.
Say one thing, do something else. Why are you deciding to say the second thing and do the
No,
second thing?
they're not saying one thing. Donald Trump doesn't say, I'm innocent. Donald Trump says, I'm the king and I can't commit crimes. Notice how it's strangely absent that Donald Trump is not out there defending himself like loser Democrats do. When we go, well, I don't think that Joe Biden did anything wrong when he did, and I don't think Hillary Clinton did. When Donald Trump when he's actually accused of a crime, Donald Trump goes out and he says, I can't commit crimes. I'm the president of the United States. How is that a disavowal?
That's not what we're talking about. That's not a disavowal of himself. The closest that Trump's done to a disavowal is not of himself. It's the bad people on both sides kind of thing. But you have to play into the rhetoric. And more importantly, Trump is able to talk like that because he's in a winning position. If we
No,
were in a
he
winning
spoke like that
position,
when
we
he
had
lost the
the culture
election.
war.
What-
If we had had the political offices already
You're
won,
wrong.
it
You're
would make
lying.
sense to be braggadocious and fucking slam heavy hammers down. But we don't
did the
have.
same
You
thing when
understand?
lost.
Hold on. You understand?
Fucking
He did the same
crime.
I don't
thing
like
when
to be
he
a
lost.
history guy. I don't like to be a history guy because I know I know we don't do history a lot. Okay, and I know it sucks to do it. But if we go all the way back, okay, we think all the way back to the year 2020, Trump lost. And if we go all the way back to the year 2022, Trump candidates lost. So he was a loser in the election, and then he lost the midterms, and then he lost special elections.
That's our point.
Yeah,
That's
but,
our point.
but they didn't
Hold on,
change the
but
rhetoric
it's-
ever, and then they came back and they
Jesse,
won 4 years
you
later.
asked what we want. You
Barely
asked
won.
earlier. Hold on. You asked earlier in the conversation what we got right from acting better than the Republicans. He lost in 2018. He lost in 2020. He lost in 2022. We only lost in 2020.
I think, but I think it was probably it was probably because of COVID because he fucked that up in such an unbelievably crazy
Wait,
way.
this wasn't because of COVID?
This was honestly most of this was actually probably because of inflation. Yeah, no, it probably was. That's the real boring answer.
Okay.
But
Okay. So therefore,
therefore, we
lost
shouldn't be
by
talking about
1.5
pardoning Hunter Biden. We should be focusing on the bad things
This
Trump
is-
does.
Okay.
Boom.
You just granted that we were in an uphill battle for this particular election, and we still, not just in terms of Joe Biden was basically dead, not just in terms of we didn't have a primary, but also in terms of inflation, also in terms of worldwide, all incumbents did terribly. Worldwide, in that context, we still only lost by 1.5. And you're talking about throwing out the entire system that we've been using in order to get to win the
How
election.
is him
in the last
pardoning his son?
2020,
How
20 and
is him pardoning his
2022?
son throwing out the entire system?
Okay.
Here, hold on. Quibbles, just to
Pardoning
point
his
out.
son throws away the
Div,
narrative.
Div.
It gives
Dev,
it
Dev,
gives into the
Dev has
narrative.
the
Dev,
point.
Throwing away
Dev
the
gets to
system.
go. I like Dev. Dev, go ahead.
Thank you. Quibbles, you have to understand, they're not loyal to the system, okay? They're not loyal to the norms. They use them when, when it serves them,
they mean
as
Republicans,
in the Trumpsters, okay?
The
Right?
maggots.
They're not loyal to the system, okay? So you can't really appeal to it in that way. I'm sure you've heard the populist right talk about, the uniparty, the uniparty, all this shit. In the parliamentary system, we call it the loyal opposition because the other party is not traitors to the country. They just have different agreements on different views on policy, right? Mm-hmm. The uniparty is just the Constitution. It's just the United States. And then they're out here saying we hate the uniparty because they're traitors. All right, so
Sure.
you can't appeal to norms and to systems and to rules when they simply want to use them against you as a weapon when they're in power, and then beg you for their protection when they're not in
Hold
power.
up. Hold up.
So this is
There's
why I
a portion
asked.
here, and I've been
earlier.
very nice, so I want to interject. Okay, so Dev, I get you. However, there's 33% splits in the country. Okay, 33% of people lean left, 33% of people lean right, and 33% of people are politically inactive. Okay, the decisions are typically made by moderates. All right, people often run very far left during the primaries, and they run center during the generals. Same thing for the right wing, right? So the point is that you might not be able to appeal to norms in order to win MAGA to be Democrats. I agree with you. However, there are people such as myself, we might be a small percentage of the population, but we do exist, who the reason why we're Republican is because we believe in a republic, right? The reason why we're quote unquote conservative is because we believe in the philosophical treatises of Burke, right? Or the concepts of fiscal conservatism or the concepts of social conservatism, right? So it's not appealing to these ideas is actually exactly how you get somebody like me. And that's part of the reason why I was willing to do apologia for the Kamala Harris campaign, was because she was effectively saying, please God, people like Connor, vote for me. That's what she said for the last 60 days of the fucking election. And Hutch, here's the thing. You've brought this up multiple times that we're wasting energy on this conversation. No, this is the exact time to have this conversation, because 2 years down the line, when it's midterms or whatever, we're not going to be able to have nuanced conversations about philosophy and ideology and virtue versus pragmatism, because we're going to have to shut the fuck up in order to win, right?
To that point,
now is the time to talk about principle.
Okay, to that point, how many of you guys seriously on this panel seriously think that the Hunter Biden pardon is going to be a salient issue in the 2026 midterms or the 2028 general?
Hutch,
I think it will be.
However,
because Connor's going to be talking about it.
It actually might be. Yeah. It actually might
It's going to be because people like these, because these kinds of, because what's going to happen is Donald Trump is going to tell 10 of his closest friends to go and murder 1,000 million Democrats, and they're going to go out and they're going to genocide half the Democratic population of this country. And then when Trump pardons them, a whole bunch of Democrats on MSNBC and CNN are going to come up and be like, okay, but remember Hunter Biden, guys? And then all of us going to be like, oh, the moral high ground, there it goes. Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't
moving
agree
aside.
that this is going to
So
be a salient issue. I don't know where you guys are getting this logic, bro.
God damn it! I want to answer your question and not let his meme answer be the last thing heard. Okay.
Okay,
So
sure.
The real fucking answer is Hunter Biden is not even going to be a blip on the radar in 2 years, right? It's going to be something that people bring up in passing. However,
Yes.
the vibe, I think we're in the era of vibes-based politics. The vibe that Democrats are willing to sweep for and apologize for public corruption, as long as it's smaller than the other side, that is still going to be relevant in 2022.
In 6 months, conversations that we're going to be having in 6 months, the conversations that we're going to be having is going to be about the insane second Trump administration. That's what's going to be driving all the headlines, the news stories, the YouTube videos, the content, blah, blah, blah. The whole conversation is going to be about him. He's going to pardon the fuck out of people as well. So this idea that it's going to be fucking salient, or you guys keep like presenting this case that you think there's going to be a political price to pay.
Corrupt party is always salient.
We just lost.
It's never not relevant.
We just lost a trifecta. This is the time, like, for something like this to happen. It's going to happen now. No one's going to be talking about this 6 months from now. I just don't. You guys are appealing to the kind of voter that I don't think exists. I don't think you're going to find a voter. I don't think you're going to. Hold on. Well, I'm almost done. You guys are appealing to a voter that apparently in 2026 is going to endure the next 2 years of Donald Trump, and then is going to go to the ballot box and be like, you know what? I really don't like all the stuff that's going on, but that Hunter Biden pardon, I don't know. Like, I just don't think these people are real.
Here's a worst case scenario for you. Fucking, I'm going to compare Trump to Hitler, right?
Yes.
Hitler did a whole bunch of great things for the fucking economy, right? He deregulated a bunch of shit. He brought industrial shit back to Germany.
He cleaned up a lot of extra space for housing. Yeah.
They were writing articles about him in fucking Times Magazine saying that he's the leader of the decade and all that kind of shit. And so as a result, he was popular with his own country. So how about 2 years from now, where not only did you compromise your principles, not only did you say that you're willing to sweep for corruption, but you get fucking graped at the fucking polls because the economy's doing well. How are you going to feel then when not only did you sell out your fucking principles, but also you still get annihilated at the fucking polls?
That's possible. I acknowledge that that's a possibility. I'm bracing myself for the possibility that the American public broadly supports mass deportations, et cetera, et cetera. But when we look back to the first Trump administration, we can kind of like use that as a possible measure of what we can expect in the second administration. In 2018, the economy was doing fucking great, and Republicans got stomped out in the House because of Donald Trump. So it's because of his attacks on healthcare. And so I don't think
aren't you even in a more dangerous position that the economy is kind of recovering, but it's a little anemic, and then God forbid there's a whole bunch of fucking tax cuts and shit, and then fucking all the corporations are like, time to make money, and then they fucking take the shit up, like they take the fucking training wheels off, and then the economy takes off.
No,
then
the economy's healed now. Didn't you hear? Because Donald Trump got elected. The economy's better. We just had like one of the largest Black Friday sales in history.
Are a bunch of fucking gold
we just had one of the largest Black Friday sales in history, even though everybody was saying that we were all broke. So I guess maybe Donald Trump getting elected fixed it even before he took office. So hooray.
I agree.
Thank God for us.
Okay.
That's the Trump bump.
Okay.
I agree.
I just have a hard time like digesting this idea that like, again, like what you're saying is right. It's possible that he could be like popular in a couple of years. I don't know. But like when you look at his first term, he was completely incompetent. He was wildly corrupt. Every single day was a fucking scandal. And the cabinet that he's assembling currently is a fucking shit show. It is not, it is so much more unhinged than the first term. So I feel like it's reasonable for me to expect that this is going to be another scandal plagued administration. We're probably going to see a repeat of the first Trump administration on fucking crack.
Because Hutch, and I'll ask you this, and Destiny said things like this. Dev said things like this. I'm curious all your opinions here, right? Why do you think it is that Republicans can just say whatever, do whatever, and according to you, don't get electorally punished for it? We can. I'll grant you, at least for the sake of argument, that that's true. My question would be why? What's the difference?
I think right now, in the last like 15 years, we've seen this rise of populism and demagoguery. And I think that the reason why the Republicans have fared like decently well in this era is because they give these like really simple explanations for really complex problems, and they give people a villain to point to. It's just classic demagoguery. I mean, this issue is so complex, and it would take
call them all retards, fascists, and enemies of the country. Do you think that makes us a good enemy or a bad enemy?
Wait, hold on. Say that again.
Oh, when Republicans can look at us, right, can point to the left and say the left hates you. They want you to die. They don't think you're American. They want to deport you. They want to put you in camps. And they play all these clips, these thousands of clips of thousands of hours of leftists, retards, Democrats, all basically saying that Republicans are stupid and lesser than. Do you think that that helps or hurts Republicans when they play the populist card and say, these other people, yeah, sure, we're corrupt and stuff, but these people fucking hate you. So fuck them. Let's be spiteful. And let's stick it to the man.
Wait. Why is it that we tell us? Why is it that they do strategies, and then if we do anything even remotely resembling that, and they're winning with their strategies, then why is it that you say, well, don't you think we should change? Wait,
because we win when we go higher, such as 2020, 2018, 2022, right? At least in the recent politics, during the Trump years, like we can talk about pre-Trump years, fair enough, but during the Trump years, 2014-ish and on, I think
here's the issue. No, you guys are looking at an NBA team against against a team of geriatrics, and the geriatrics like barely win, and you're like, oh look, yeah, this is like a good, the geriatrics need to keep working hard, and that's good. You
think the
Stop. Okay. When you guys are citing things like movies, or when you're talking about like good people winning and principles and all of this, okay, these things they have to happen this way because it's fiction, okay? The ending is already determined by the author when he begins to write. History, future.
Was the 2020 election
let me fucking finish, please. The future is not inevitable. It's not set in stone. And you have this naive form of thinking that because it is the fact that Batman doesn't kill anybody and all the criminals just happen to either kill themselves or get locked in Arkham Asylum forever, that we can conduct ourselves and hold ourselves to that standard and it's going to turn out good. If you look at the past 25 years of elections, you're saying something. You're saying this. This is what you're saying, okay? You're saying that, well, look, when we go high, we're winning. And your evidence of that is that Democrats and Republicans are holding office
elections.
Yeah,
it's elections.
I understand.
That's my evidence.
Please let me finish.
Not movies.
Dude, Connor's ranted so much. Let me just finish this one fucking thing. Jesus. Okay, we are looking at 50-50 elections where Bush gave us the Iraq and Afghanistan war. Okay, over $2 trillion. Okay, you're looking at elections where Obama came in after the world economy was fucking destroyed by the housing crisis. Okay, and then we got a Democrat for 2 terms. You're looking at a world where Donald Trump denied that COVID even fucking existed and left the entire country in disarray. Okay, when Biden came in and won office. You're looking at 2 parties that do not conduct themselves even remotely close to the same standard. You're looking at parties that are where Donald Trump had to have the Constitution of the United States change so that he could even run for office again. Okay, where we lost a Supreme Court pick. Okay, where we had a president that was denied his rightful recount in Florida because of corruption on the Republican side. And you look at these results and you go 50-50, oh, we're doing okay. That's insane. If there was any normativeness, if there was any fairness in our system, the Republican Party would either not exist right now or it would be in a severely different state that would be better for all of us.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
If you're gonna bend into this,
go in the order.
You're gonna bend into this new world where it's mass politic. You have to acknowledge that historically, unprecedentedly, mass politic is right wing. So at a certain point, maybe what the Democrat Party has to do is start packing Mexicans into boxes. Like if you're trying to win. If you're trying to win on mass politics, you're going to become more fascistic. And if that means having like a stronger go after your political opponent's strategy, I don't think it ends there. It has to end principally with becoming a hardcore populist, which is the thing that we're trying to get away from. It's the thing that is to just go into that world when that's the whole reason that the Democratic Party exists at all, as far as I'm concerned, is to try and hold back this behemoth that wants to drag us into a sort of second world style politic where you can just fucking communist murder people. The only thing stopping that is not being that and offering the populace an alternative to just doing political killings or political witch hunts or just deciding that the rules don't matter sometimes because we're scared.
This is a really weird line that you're drawing from Biden pardoning his son to let's throw people into camps. Like you're doing a slippery slope thing to the 10th degree here.
No, what I'm saying is that when you start ignoring the fundamental principles of a democracy, you don't stop at just getting rid of one. You kick one leg of the chair, the whole fucking thing falls over. You're not going to have people
Political pardons have been a thing. Politically driven pardons have been a thing for fucking decades. For decades and decades. He's not exactly breaking with precedent. You can argue about the specifics of the pardon, how it went a little bit more blanket than the other ones. But again, this is not like, we're not treading new ground here. If we're going to have the conversation should be about like, should the president have this power? But they do have the power and they use it. And so this is not something that I feel like is going to be, like I said, a salient issue 2 years from now.
Also, you have to stop.
It is going to come up if Trump tries to do a self-pardon. This is going to be the thing. They're going to say 11 years of his own flesh and blood taken off the fucking record. That's going to be the defense. That's the rhetorical trap.
He can try to do
What do you
that.
mean?
That will be
Trump already
challenged in the
has a
courts.
self-pardon. What the fuck are you? All of his shit has been dismissed. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. We're just fucking.
No one's going to talk about that.
precedents.
No one cares about that. His federal cases are gone. Those are gone. No one cares. Do you acknowledge that? No one gives a fuck. The J6 case is gone, meaning the Georgia case is probably going to be gone. The New York sentencing is basically gone, and the Mar-a-Lago case is gone. Those are all gone.
I thought they were suspended without prejudice, but sure.
They're gone.
They might as well be gone.
Just bend in, go into the new political avenue, the new world, the one where Democrats can't win unless they don't abide by their own principles,
You're making
forms of government that they want. That's just
you're making this.
You're
making this point that him pardoning Hunter will give Trump license to do like unethical pardons, which is ridiculous because again, he did over 100.
No, this is second order effect. I'm not making that argument, and that it can sound like that. I'm saying second order effect, which is that when you have voters that are not turning out because they think both parties are corrupt, because they don't think their vote will matter, because they think the entire thing is just a black box, you're only further disenfranchising them by saying, actually, Biden can do this and no one should say anything. We should not say anything.
Because the voters don't think that it's corrupt.
The decision is whether or not you fucking push back at all.
The voters don't
even
think...
rhetorically. Just say, you know what? I think Biden might have done something bad here.
No, the voters don't think the system. The voters don't think the system is broken because the system is broken. The voters don't even know how the system works. The voters think the system is broken because we're talking about this now and because the Republicans constantly say that it's broken. That's it.
Okay.
We are being fed that by more than just Republicans, by the way.
That's part of the
We
problem.
have to decide.
They're being fed it also by the actions that play into those narratives.
No, they're not. No, absolutely not. We have never been more divorced from action ever in the history of the United
Rhetoric
States
is
than we are right
disconnected
now.
from reality. What is this new fucking argument? And by the way, I'm going to come on hard for the first fucking 30 minutes, but I'm pretty sure for the last 40, I've been pretty much fucking quiet with my hand up. Y'all can relax with Connor's ranting.
Why don't you calm down, Connor? Chill.
So, hold on. So you guys are losing by 1%. And by the way, this is my diagnosis, okay? 4 years ago, and this isn't going to sit well with the progressives, I'm just going to say it, progressives went too goddamn far, okay? Sweep in for the fucking riots, mostly peaceful but fiery protests, all that bullshit. That turned off a lot
Only
of
Republicans can get away with that rhetoric, okay? Don't be crazy, okay? Only Republicans can say that shit.
Okay, well, you're paying a fucking consequence for the insanity of 2020, the summer of love, okay? Chaz, chop, all that bullshit. You can call it fucking propaganda if you want, but at the
Isn't
same
it crazy
time,
how Democrats are responsible for that when Trump was president? Isn't that insane that Donald Trump was the president? But that was our fault somehow?
Right here, he was the motherfucker that fucking freaked out and basically said, like, at this point, right-wing dipshit fucking militias should do what they need to do in order to restore peace to the fucking streets. So don't act like this isn't a fucking problem. You were the one who
I'm not acting like it's a problem, but I also think the Black Panthers should have been in D.C., okay, on the steps of the Capitol building.
Okay, base. I don't give a fuck. I like guns. So anyway, the point is
Please don't
that
get me
the
banned.
adjustment back center towards sanity was way too fucking late. Okay? And so when Kamala has 2 fucking months in order to rewrite her entire platform, and all that's happening is they're playing clips of her primary from 2019 over and over and over and over and over again, it's not possible to overcome it. And by the way, it's this much. If you had a sane, stable, rhetorically responsible candidate, you could have fucking won. But you're saying be more unhinged. Why the fuck not?
This is not an argument to be won in the public. People are stupid. That's the whole reason our government is set up the way that it is because we don't trust the public to just all of a sudden come to these great conclusions as long as the narratives and the rhetoric are good enough. You need the institutions to keep everything in check. That's the whole reason why we created the government. And all the founding fathers talk over and over again about how stupid factionism is, how stupid the whims and the desires of groups of men are, and that groups of people are completely unhinged compared to individuals. You have to have the government and these structures and institutions. So if you have one side undermining the institutions, you can't appeal to the public. in order to win, because the people undermining institutions are doing those to appeal to the public. You can't win that way.
We have 17
minutes
minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and shut up again, but I'm going to say not a single thing that Destiny said changes anything I said, and if anything, I agree with it, hook, line, and sinker.
Let's let Dev
you
go.
calm
Let's let
down?
Dev go. Go ahead, Dev.
Can you calm down?
I do have a question for you, Counterpoint. So just real quick. So you did say correctly that there's an adjustment towards the sane center that needs to happen, right? Well, the Trumpsters aren't doing it. So what do you do now? Like how do you make it happen?
Okay, what I was praying for was that in this election, because it seemed like Biden was moving, had always been center, let's be real, but he was a little progressive on some shit, and then Kamala was adjusting center. I was hoping that it was going to be enough to squeak by with a fucking victory, give MAGA a bloody nose, and make them realize that they couldn't win electoral politics anymore.
That didn't
However,
happen.
that's not what happened. So what needs to happen, I would say, going
Just a quick thing,
forward
Biden was not
2 to
center at
4
all. He
years
was
from
an
now,
insanely progressive president.
is if, let's say that Trump is a disaster. Let's say that his cabinet picks are horrible. Let's say that he guts the executive branch and there's disorder and anarchy everywhere. Let's say that we have videos of families being deported and they're fucking crying tears as their neighbors are being dragged away in fucking handcuffs and shit. Then what needs to happen is a capitalization by the center to build a new coalition that basically goes against the hard left if the hard left is going too far, and goes against the hard right if the hard right is going too far. And that needs to be the new norm.
Okay. I just want to zoom out for a second. Earlier, both Destiny and Hutch, and I believe SFO as well, you all compared our current situation, in the case of SFO, literally to the situation in Ukraine, right? Literally to war. In that context, there are two solutions of how to move forward. One is that it is a war, and we're going to just accept that it's war, and therefore let's pardon everyone, and therefore let's do whatever the fuck we need to do in order to just engage head on and do total war against the Republicans. That's one option. The other option is to be starting to work actively to try to mutually get to a place where we reinstate those norms. Reinstating those norms means that this is not the kind of conversation that we want to be having. Instead, what we want to be doing is we want to have conversations about mutually agreeable, at least in terms of the public, ideas of how to get rid of corruption, right? We want to be able to have those conversations in the Senate. We want to have them in the Congress. We want to be able to push forward things like, hey, maybe there shouldn't be insider trading in Congress. Hey, maybe there shouldn't be all of these kinds of things that are agreed to across the aisle. And that kind of building out in that sense is how you can manage to get at the very least public, and hopefully eventually through the public, members of Congress, Republicans, albeit perhaps not Trump specifically, but other Republicans, to get back to normalcy. That
When
is
do
the
Republicans
only
support
other
stuff like that?
Dribbles.
When do Republicans support stuff? What do they supported like that?
Should I list some? Sure.
Dan
sure.
Crenshaw. So
There's
sorry, real quick.
already
This is
bipartisan.
something.
I can list one. Wait, you just asked me a
Just
question.
the
I can
strongest,
list
give me
one.
the
Let
strongest
Quibbles
example.
answer, let
The
Quibbles
the
answer.
strongest
Answer the question.
example. The strongest example. Not 50 random people, just the strongest example.
Okay, awesome. The Presidential Ethics Reform Bill, which is by Representatives James Comer and Katie Porter, which demands tax returns of the president and vice president. Let's do that.
Wait, let him, don't hold on. Okay, wait, did this have support, broad bipartisan support?
Broad bipartisan, you asked for whether it has bipartisan. It does have bipartisan.
Because I asked you for a thing that was from, I'm not asking for a.
Hold on, let's get on the same page here. Destiny, can you repeat what you're asking
I'm
so he
asking,
understands?
yes, you're saying something about both parties coming back to the norms, okay? So not just one piece of legislation that two people have signed onto in Congress. What's an example of a broad thing that Republicans support that would move us towards better norms?
Do you want a list or do you want the one?
I want
your
one
strongest
thing. The what you just gave was horseshit because it sounds like it has no support in the Senate or the House. One strong thing that Republicans broadly support.
I'm saying that the way that we move forward is by trying to build out this kind of rhetoric and this kind of
Yes,
conversation.
he's asking you for an example.
around
Quibbles.
that.
But
So
We
you're
tried
asking
that.
already-
Pelosi
if you're
passed when
asking-
Pelosi was in the House. When Pelosi was in the
if
House, she
you're
passed more
asking for
legislation than
currently
any House.
existing legislation, I agree with you that the currently existing legislation is overwhelmingly supported by Democrats and is not supported by Republicans, at least members of the elected class. But in terms of the general public, I think there are a lot of things that the general public of conservatives do actually at least want in terms of the voting public, rather than in terms of people who are in Congress who are actually in the cabinet or whatever.
Okay,
right?
wait, one more question then. One question. What is your red line? What is your...
Hold on. Before we go forward, do you agree that the majority of the public would like, for example, for there not to be insider trading within Congress?
No, because conservatives are amoral and they have no values. No, of course not. Am I ever going to... I'm not even going to listen. I'm not even going to listen to a Republican dick suck, okay, who's going to sit here and tell me when
You're talking about members of the media.
When Elon... No, I'm talking about a rank and file line voter shows up and votes his little fucking maggot voter card, okay? That a guy who is okay with Elon Musk enriching himself in a single day more than probably the net worth of every member of Congress and all of you as history is going to sit here and talk to me about insider trading. I would rather fucking kill myself, okay, in a video game. So, no. Okay.
You don't think that there are any Republicans who believe that insider trading is bad? That's the real answer.
No. As a principle, no.
Okay, if you believe that, then we're at the point where we should be pardoning everyone. If you actually believe that,
my
then
question.
act accordingly.
So this is my question. Then you can. Okay. So my question is, what is your red line for the Republicans? What's a step too far, or is it always? Are they outside the door, like pounding with their AR-15s, okay, and their tactical shitty fucking scopes? They probably have the cover open, okay? These guys, okay, and you're like, well, hold on, wait. If we
you just said red line.
Yeah, what's your red line?
Hold up, you just said red line. Can you define what you mean by red line?
As in when somebody's like, okay, well, holy shit, this is a step way too far. Now we need to like court pack.
No. I'm asking, what will you do? I'm asking, what will you do?
Yeah, I'm saying it. I don't know, things like court packing or filibustering or pardoning people that we think are being.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
have they
filibuster,
crossed
whatever.
the red line for you?
I'm asking you what? Yes, like 3 times.
I'm asking you, have they crossed the red line?
Yes.
They crossed the line in 2000 with Gore. Stop telling me when I should be in support. You have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm asking you, what is the red line? What's the red line? I'm asking you.
Steven,
he's not going to answer.
When earlier I asked you, I will answer the question, but I just want to clarify before I answer it. When earlier I asked you whether or not you want a blanket pardon for all major Democrats, your response should have been yes.
No, because you keep doing this retarded thing where you're saying it's all or nothing.
You just said they've crossed the red line.
Crossing a red line doesn't mean you fucking nuke somebody, you fucking retard. What are you talking about? There's a red line. If you break into my house, you might get shot. I live in Florida. I got 20 guns behind me. I'm ready to fucking kill somebody, okay? But that doesn't mean I'm going to go and kill their entire family. And you're like, wait, you said they crossed the red line? You're not going to go and destroy their entire bloodline? What are you talking about?
Quibbles, stop. Because I want you to answer the question he asked because I am curious. He asked you, where is your point where you start to get the guns out and you do what?
Yeah, the answer is that I have multiple lines. There's one that's an actual. There's one that's an actual red line where I am ready to involve myself in like revolutionary activities and start buying up guns and shit. That's a line. That line would be like if they literally stole an election. I would start picking up guns. If they literally like did the kinds of shit that they've accused us of. If they were actually correct about the 2020 election, absolutely they would have been right to start, fucking doing whatever the fuck they need to do in order to get back our country. Absolutely, in my view, that is very different than the kinds of shit of, hey, they have a bunch of rank and file corruption and all of this kinds of stuff. I would like to ratchet down tensions.
Wait, so the most severe red line you have, they already tried to cross.
At the line where we've already crossed the line and it's time for a civil war.
Of all your different lines, they've already tried to cross the biggest line.
And a Trump supporter.
So do you think it's time for
Don't ask me. That was your red line. You said that was your red line. You told
and McConnell and also his vice president and all of the major people in the media, all of them got in line and said, "Hey, that's not okay." Right? That's what they all said immediately following it. Yes, they're still Republicans.
No, they didn't say that. No, they didn't say that. No, they said they didn't say no. They didn't say that's not okay. They said that was kind of bad, and like, don't do it again, please.
Get the fuck out of here!
Kind of bad? Are you kidding me? Did you see
let me go.
Wait, hold on. I want to ask you one thing.
Let them go.
It's the failure of the Senate to convict Donald Trump for January 6th. It's the lack of accountability for any of the crimes committed on January 6th because all the Jack Smith cases are done. It's the Supreme Court ruling of Trump versus United States where we got criminal immunity for everything. It's the fact that Republicans right now who all said that Donald Trump tried to overthrow the government are now voting for him and supporting him in Congress. What are you talking about?
Why do they walk it back?
The fact that you can show me 3 people on January 7th saying this is really bad is not a huge condemnation of Trump behavior.
No. There's no fucking way. Steven, I'm not going to let you say that stupid shit.
Oh, my God.
Number one, not only do you keep saying Republican, conservative instead of fucking MAGA. Whereas if you actually fucking pull this shit, it's like 55 fucking 45. But then not only that, but you're acting like, I don't know, Chris fucking Christie and Mike Pence and Nikki fucking Haley didn't come out in the fucking primary and say, fuck Donald Trump, he's a piece of shit who tried to overthrow the Constitution of the United States.
And they got stomped out.
Fucking Giano and fucking...
Okay.
Wait, Christie and Haley,
enough
what happened to
power.
those guys? How far did they get in the election again? Where were they? Where are they at?
It doesn't fucking matter. You're acting like
Are those guys attacking or supporting Donald Trump now? What did Nikki Haley say last about Donald Trump? Let's Google it. Nikki Haley, support Donald Trump? Does she support Donald Trump then, or is she still against Donald Trump? What do we think?
This is absurd. You're counting Mike Pence. You're counting Liz Cheney. You're counting
Nikki Haley reaffirmed support. Reaffirmed support of Trump with a warning to the campaign. Oh, so she supports Donald Trump. Why are you citing Republicans who are no longer part of the political process?
Because Stephen, they joined our team.
They're dying.
Okay. This is great. This is content. This is fun. This is great. But I do want a little productivity because we don't got too much time left. Oh man, God.
Quibbles,
I mean,
you're
like,
making the case.
I pause for breath, and you vultures, you piranhas, you January 6ers to this panel trying to overthrow my rule. Okay, let's give it to Dev. He had a question. He's been polite. He's had the least amount of talking time. Let's give it to Dev. Let's get his question. Let's talk about that. I got some super chats to read, and then let's fucking end this fucking shit show. Go ahead, Dev.
Okay, Quibbles, I just want a clarification here. Okay, so if Mike Pence had adhered to Eastman's scheme, would you have armed up?
If they had succeeded at it, yeah, absolutely.
No, you wouldn't have.
Okay.
I mean, no, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't have.
And,
You would have said they just need
we're
10 more
at
days.
civil
They just
war.
need 10 more days to find voter fraud. And then when it went to the Supreme Court was like, well, major political question. We don't do this. You said, well, the Supreme Court said it, so it's kind of legal. It's a legal theory, and it's probably not the best. And you'd be making excuses. That's what you'd be doing.
We're at the point where
Steven,
civil
you're
war
fucking
is
over here
happening.
saying the motherfucker wouldn't
I would be
fucking
part of
wrap
the
up.
civil war. So would everyone else. It would be a civil war.
It wouldn't be a civil war. We would be at home talking about how, like, well, that was kind of a bad thing Trump did, and we better uphold norms really hardcore to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yo,
What
hold
would
on.
you do in a situation? Everybody, Stephen, what would you do in a
For the
situation?
love of God, let me go, okay? This is bullshit, okay? Chris Christie, during the fucking primaries, had people boo him for the first fucking 40 seconds that he was talking shit about Trump, and by the end of the fucking 2 or 3 minute tangent, he was fucking having them applaud. Having Mike Pence also stand up there and say, fuck Trump, fuck his violation of the Constitution, he's a fucking piece of shit. That took fucking balls. Acting like everybody is hook, line, and sinker fucking MAGA is part of your goddamn fucking problem.
It didn't matter.
Wait, yeah, they are.
Consequentially,
Where are they?
consequentially, the bulk of the Republican Party fell right back in line with Donald Trump. You can appeal to Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy. You can appeal to You can appeal to McCarthy and McConnell giving a stern like talking to on the House and Senate floor. But what did it lead to? It didn't lead to anything. Like they had the perfect opportunity to hold him accountable and make sure that he could never hold public office again. There was like initially some possibility of that happening, and then when they both made the calculation that MAGA wasn't dying, McCarthy made a trip to Mar-a-Lago, made a public appearance with Donald Trump, and McConnell came out against convicting him in the Senate. It was completely toothless. It was inconsequential.
Let me put this
Let
me put this in a way that Counterpoints can understand, okay? As a good conservative person, okay? The problem is that we've let mom deal with this for too long. And dad needs to come in with the belt. Because what's happening is the Republicans are doing the same thing over and over again. And mom is saying, you better stop that. Don't do that. Not good. And you know what? We need dad to come in with the belt. And we need to give these motherfuckers an ass whipping. Because when you say things like,
And so dad coming in with a belt
Haley and
is
Christie,
letting people off the hook.
were both like really critical of Donald Trump. That's mom saying, you better not do that or I'm going to take away your Game Boy, okay? Who the fuck cares? Christie and Haley, these are irrelevant people. You think these are the new kingmakers of the Republican Party? When you do this, you're marking yourself for deletion because the entire party, as I said earlier, falls in line.
Hold on. No, this is so real. You guys are now fucked for the next generation, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because if Trump had taken a bloody nose and lost, he might have actually taken a hit, and he probably wouldn't have the opportunity to be a kingmaker. Now, because he gets a second term no matter what. Because he gets a second term no matter what. Now, because he gets a second term no matter what. Shut the fuck up.
He doesn't get a second term no matter what. He gets a second term because the Constitution was changed, because we don't have a Supreme Court, because we lost it under Obama.
He's a kingmaker in the Republican Party for the next fucking generation. So we have to deal with MAGA no matter what. And your fucking bullshit, it's a losing fucking recipe.
Connor, they called the 2000 election the end of progressive politics. Barack Obama won in 2008. They called the 2016 the end of progressive politics in America. He was a one-term president. So this idea that like we're fucked for a generation is a bit specious to me.
No.
Like you have no idea what the climate is going to be like 2 years from now or 4 years from now.
You're dealing with MAGA for the next 30 years. That's what I mean. So you need to.
We were going to be dealing with them no matter what. If Donald Trump lost, MAGA was not going away. It would have taken on. It would have.
We had the Tea Party before this. We had the Freedom Caucus. Like, there's always some fucking retarded iteration of American voters. Usually they're called Republicans, but they have other more specific names as well. But
bitch, you fucking did a fucking 2-year goddamn jihad against the far left. Don't fucking talk to me about
the difference is the far left are 2% of the Democratic Party.
The far don't act like retardation is a fucking binary.
The far left is not the reason. The far left is not the reason why Russia is invading Ukraine uninterrupted. The far left is not the reason why we're looking at repealing fucking DACA. Why we're talking about receding from the whole fucking world stage, and why we just changed our constitution to re-elect a 34 felon convicted fucking president to the fucking opposite president. Okay? So fuck off with the far left shit, okay?
The reason why this is
you were talking about trying to
lost you the fucking election.
You're trying to talk about the Democrats becoming more populist. Those are the fucking lefties. Those are the people that are going to help you make a populist left. Those tankies, the communists, the people that are, you're going to lose your fucking Democrats, the believers in democracy, the second that you start playing by the same rules as the right. You're going to have to work with the fucking commies. You're going to have to be out there doing your own fucking blue Jan 6 with goddamn hammers and sickles.
Yeah,
that's what
hold on. I'll say this at the end because we need to, for my brain cells, we need to wrap this up soon. One of the reasons we lost was the far left, and I'll tell you why. Not because Kamala was far left, not because she ran as far left, is because she never told the far left no. I can't find one clip, one instance, one soundbite, one interview.
Kamala literally said, wait. Kamala literally said she didn't support the defund the police. She said that violence needed to stop after the Summer of Love. She said that she was a proud gun owner, her and Tim Walz. What do you mean? She was constantly signaling against this far left shit.
That doesn't land when you fucking donated to the fucking bail funds like a dumbass.
Yes.
She donated all that. I hate you. God, when the Civil War happens, Connor, I'm coming right up to you. We're going to be the first two. Okay, they're fucking going at it. Okay,
we're fucking
going at it, Connor. I'm going to get you. We are. And you know what? Connor, you're huge. You're a way bigger target than me, okay? So I don't even have to be half the shot, okay? It's going to be, you're telling me, the fact that you would even bring up, you 7-foot fucking monster, okay? The fact that you would even dare to bring up Kamala Harris donating, and by donating, one-time tweeting about a fucking bail fund for bail, which is a part of our system, and ignore the fact that Donald Trump just won the election saying he's going to pardon every single J6er. That's why we lost the elections, because we're pretending like these two things are even remotely the same.
Wick, I don't believe you when you say that we lost the election because Kamala did a bail fund rather than inflation. Do you seriously think that bail fund was more salient than inflation?
Hold on. This is important. I think inflation was there, right? But this idea that there was nothing we could do differently, that inflation was all going to have us lose, is defeatist talk. We lost on the margins. 2% switch in Pennsylvania, 2%, not even nationally, 2% difference in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, and in Michigan. Those three places. That's it.
Dude,
that's all we needed. And the fact that we didn't get them is in part because, right or wrong, a lot of the moderates, the centrists, or whatever you want to call them, felt that the Kamala Harris represented the far left. They could be wrong. I think
Biden won. Biden won in 2020. Biden won in 2020 at the height of all this,
because he was seen as a moderate. Because he's one of the first people who, again, during the primary, during the Summer of Love, came out against it. He was seen as someone.
Biden was not a moderate. Hold on, you Bernie bros.
So did Schumer. So did Jeffries.
Okay,
so did
you Bernie bros. I don't care if he is or is not. We're talking about perception. He was perceived as a moderate because he was able to say moderate things during the primary. Yes, he absolutely was seen as a moderate candidate during the president.
And Biden was seen as a moderate by Bernie bros who wanted single-payer healthcare and socialism. Biden is not seen as a moderate. The Republicans called him a socialist and a communist all the same.
And it doesn't.
But
land
again,
the
they're
same
going to
way.
say that about everyone, but it doesn't. Like for the maggots,
It doesn't land.
for the
Maggots, that's a good one, yes.
hardcore
The
Republicans,
maggots, yeah.
they'll say that about every single one. Every single one, yes. But what matters is those margins, those 2%, the squishy middle. Okay, that's what matters.
Yeah.
And they saw
also
him,
turnout.
right or wrong, as a moderate because of his rhetoric, because of what he said and the stances he took during the Summer of Love, right in
both of
2020,
you
and other
cunts.
things. Yeah.
Both of you cunts, actually, yeah, both of you cunts were in Milwaukee with me, okay? And here's the thing. When we were at the Trump rally, those people, I guarantee you that they would have told you that their parents were blue dog Democrats, that they were socially conservative union boys who feel like they've been left the fuck behind, and as a result, they're swinging for fucking Trump because they think that he's going to bring manufacturing jobs back. Now, I don't believe this shit because I'm not a fucking moron, but at the same time, pretending that like sweeping for progressive, like, dude, honestly, the amount of fucking psychic damage I take by Hassan Piker getting a fucking CNN puff piece, like I want to slam my head into a brick fucking wall.
You're preaching to the
That
choir,
shit-
though.
What's that?
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, but
like,
this is
I saw
every
the same puff piece.
Oh, this
I
is
saw
all
the
the
same puff
treatment-
piece. It was absurd.
But
Yes,
the
you're
mainstream
right.
media treatment of Democrats is just as bad, and it should make you want to slam your head against the wall just as much. The issue that you keep talking about the results and the results and the results, and that's fine. I understand why you're talking about the results, but you're just not talking about the effort, and that's what's driving me crazy, okay? You have two people that are tasked with carrying a rock from one end of the field to the other. One guy's rock is 100 pounds, and the other guy's rock is 5 pounds, and the guy with the 5-pound rock manages to just barely beat the guy with the 100-pound rock, and you've got
not fair.
50 million things to criticize.
It's not fair.
It's
You're
not
correct.
fair.
It's not fair.
Hold on,
but
wait,
I
wait,
don't
no,
fucking
sorry.
care about
Wait,
it. Fair
wait,
doesn't
wait,
matter.
wait,
Reality
wait,
matters.
wait,
And the
wait,
reality,
wait,
whether
wait.
we like it or
No,
not,
no,
is
you're
we
just
do have to be better.
Wick,
Go
I
into
just to be
left
clear.
hand
we
Hold
do.
on, wait. You're wrong and
I wanna
retarded.
finish.
Okay, hold on. When you say it's not fair, the response to things being not fair is violence. Period. The whole point of government is to
so then
instantiate.
you do
The whole
believe
point
in
of
a
government.
violent
The
solution
whole
as well.
point of government. The whole point of government is to instantiate fairness. People on their own are not fucking fair. That's why we have a government. That's what keeps us separated from the
That's for
fucking
government,
animals.
but politics and government,
So
while
then-
related, are not the same.
Politics
Hold
is
on,
for
hold on.
government.
This is-
You have
no, no,
to
no.
have a fair government. If the governmental playing field, if the political playing field is not fair, then all is lost. Because once things are no longer fair, the only thing that matters is power. That's what we have government
Hold
to
on.
save us from.
Okay.
That's the whole point of a
So hold on.
republic. It's the whole point of a democracy.
The Republican playbook is infinitely easier than the Democrat playbook, and there will never be a time, no matter how many rules or laws or whatever are ever implemented, there will never be a time that Democrats have it easier than Republicans. And the reason why is because Republicans can largely play to economically established white people and honorary whites. They just can. And by the way, that's already like 60 to 70% of the population. And then the educated break for fucking Democrats, right? But when it comes to Democrat politics, you have to attract all of the minority groups and a healthy chunk of the educated people. And you have to build a coalition of people who sometimes have deferring priorities, right? So
No,
for instance, one of the
no,
things that hurt
no,
you a little
no,
bit.
no.
Yes,
I
100%.
appreciate this theory.
You cannot tell me with a serious
I can tell you.
that
When
the
you have-
Democrats did not
it
take
doesn't-
major fucking
No.
damage this past year
Bro,
because of Israel-Palestine.
I'm sorry.
You cannot
When you've
tell me
got
that.
people in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin who are highly concerned about the fucking border, don't fucking sit here and tell me that Republicans are able to just focus on
Well,
one
hold on,
fucking issue.
because do you
Republicans
think
are able to get their
Pennsylvanians
entire
only live in
base.
Pennsylvania?
Why
Hold on.
wouldn't-
Do you think
hold
that
on.
they don't
Why
have
wouldn't-
family in Texas, family at the border?
Even-
They don't know a friend
even if
who
they
happens to
don't.
be. We are so
if they
connected
don't.
nationally
Oh,
and
really?
globally.
Today I
Like, just
learned that
because they
every
live
single
in
person in a
Pennsylvania,
swing
like,
state
our
has fucking
pounding
family
national
living in El Paso,
levels.
that has
Stephen
family
Bennell
living in
II.
fucking San Diego. Give me a
Stephen
fucking
Bennell
break. Oh my
II.
God.
Stephen Bennell II.
Don't address me by
If
my
I
moniker.
wake up as a working class or middle class American, I do my job, I pay my taxes, and everything is fucking hunky dory. And then I hear about hundreds of thousands of people coming from what's effectively failed state.
Hear about. That's the goal. That's the point. That's what I'm talking about. Hear about.
It works.
What?
It works.
It
you
works,
go
yeah, but that's
into-
why
if
we
you
have
go
to
into
change. That's why
leftist-
the change has to be what we talk
real quick,
about.
real quick.
It has to be what we talk about. That's the
Please, I just want to
change.
say something. If you go into
walk.
leftist,
That's
if
not
you go
propaganda.
into leftist spaces, if you go into leftist spaces and alternative media, they fucking loathe Joe Biden. They fucking loathe Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden talked about like rape on October 7th. They talked about how some of the college protests were insane. So you do see this pushback against this, what you would call like wokeism or whatever, at the highest levels of the Democratic Party. This is why like people like Hassan didn't endorse Kamala Harris. This is why like every leftist creator in alternative
Hold on, when
media
did Kamala Harris
accumulates
come out
social
against the protests and the?
No, she did talk. She did talk about.
She did
sexual
talk
assault.
about that.
No, I
She
might
actually-
have
did.
missed this, possible.
And every time she mentioned like sexual violence on October 7th, the collective like progressive media sphere let out a large like groan. So you can't tell me that they don't push back against this stuff. They do constantly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to help.
Sure. Okay, I agree with you that a healthy chunk of this is propaganda inflating these issues. Sure.
Yeah, like 80%.
Oh, look. Okay, so we're gonna
It's
end
an
it now.
effective 80%.
Okay.